What's up? What's up? We're just waiting for people to roll in. Yeah, what's up, bud?
How's it going? How's things?
Oh, it's going good.
Um, what's the topic? I can only read part of it, linguistics, and I can read Jenner, and that's it.
Oh, yeah, it's just going to be general and sub-disciplines of linguistics. We're going to cover things that I didn't cover in my first episode on linguistics, which was about 2 weeks ago. I've had a lot of interviews and stuff in between then. Have an interview on Sunday with Dr. Scott Kaufman on here, so that'll be fun. Um, but yeah, tonight's just going to be about linguistics. We'll talk about pragmatics and generative linguistics, theoretical linguistics, maybe even some psycholinguistics and applied linguistics.
Really interesting. I mean, it's. I always love the idea of linguistics, and it's like when I do enter into it, it's a whole kind of, how would you say, like, it's its whole own environment, linguistics, the kind of way, and I find it
Mm.
very interesting. And I mean,
Yeah,
like
well, yeah.
the first introduction I ever really got to it was like just different languages, simple enough, like, the kind of way. But
Mm.
then the idea of, like, the similarity between all the languages and the meaning behind the words,
Yep.
and then it does, it splits off so much, and then it has lots to do with culture, psychology, obviously, so
Hmm.
much about it. So yeah, really interesting. I don't know if you want to bring up any kind of part or subject of it or anything like that you're thinking of, or we can
Well, I mean,
talk
we're
about it.
just, linguistics overall studies everything relating to language and meaning and semantics and all that kind of stuff. So, it really is basically everything to how we communicate. And linguistics is also kind of overarchingly trying to tie everything together. Like it's trying to make the general terms of what all languages do. Like there is, even though English and Mandarin have nothing in common specifically, generally they have in common the fact that they have morphemes and they have phonemes and they have all these different syntactical structures of sentences just like we do. So, linguistics is a good way to look at language, period, no matter which one it is. Um,
Obviously, I always thought it was like the quote unquote study of languages or language, the kind of way. Well, I mean, it's pretty much like, it's like saying baking or cooking is the facilitation of food, the kind of way. Like, I don't know,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah. I mean, you're
like,
on the right track. You really are. Um,
um,
the funny part, the reason why I decided to take on this task of talking about linguistics is, if we didn't have linguistics or the meaning of semantics and, could argue about that kind of stuff, then we'd all just be walking around staring at each other. We wouldn't have any way to communicate ideas or do
yeah,
math or make medicine or anything like that. Just be people staring at each other. No
you know
language, no
what?
hand, no sign language, no hand. So really, what we've come to is that everything in some way falls down to language.
Yeah, and do you know what? And that's it. Like, when it falls down to language, I suppose there's so many different languages, but then again, there's
Yeah,
so many different cultures. You know what I mean? And that's representative in many ways.
that's
Like,
right. That's right.
um,
And there's a branch of linguistics called historical linguistics that works with etymology and philology, that kind of brings all that together. So
like the
historical
one
linguistics studies how different languages change over time through the history in which they go through.
like here's something, like, as an Irish person, I always, like, I never grew up, like, I learned a bit of Irish in school and all, but English was my primary language. They try to
Right.
teach it to you in school and all the rest, and like my grandmother would have been a Latin and Irish teacher, and like, she was completely fluent and she spoke Latin as well, and she taught it in schools and all the rest. But
Yeah.
I could never speak with her because she always corrected me with everything, and I was not saying it right. I wasn't. So it's kind of one of those things. There's a saying in Irish. It's fearlum a kind Gaeilge briste na bearla cliste. I prefer speaking broken Irish than clear English. You know what I mean? And
That
it's
sounds a
kind of
bit
like,
like old English, like like pre-Renaissance English.
Like that's the whole thing. Is like the only way we can resurrect our language is being forgiven with the people who are getting it wrong. You know, the kind of
Mm.
way. Like
But there
it's like it's like
aren't
it's
there
like,
people that actually still truly speak Gaelic, like true, real deal?
there is, yeah, but there's very few communities. Like for example, like I actually was working doing a building survey in a house there in Dublin, and the family were from Galway, and they were speaking in Irish like in the home, and I was like, oh no way, like you know, he's obviously he's a kind of Oscar, you're speaking Irish. They're like, yeah, yeah, and I go, I could actually name the town that they were from in Galway. I was like, he's from Carrow, the specific town in Galway, because it's one of the few Gaeltacht areas. They're called Gaeltacht areas, and they have
Mm.
special status because they're the actual areas that still fully like converse in Irish. The families in their own homes speak Irish fully, and
Mm.
there's very few of them. And yeah, like when I grew up, like as a teenager, I used to go to like the summer school, kind of like you know you'd go down to the Gaeltacht, and you'd spend a month down in like you know a kids camp learning Irish, like you know the kind of way, like learning your own language, but you had to speak in
Mm.
Irish constantly and do all your activities and all. Good memories from that, like you know the kind of way. But you're more down for kissing girls than fucking learning Irish, you know the kind of way. Like,
Exactly.
I
like
feel you.
that's what it was when you were a teenager and you're 13, 14 years of age, you know the kind of way. But
Mm.
uh, but yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. But I could name the town that they were from because there's so few of them, you know the kind of way. And yeah, it's a definitely dying out. And just on a point on that, what I find is kind of criminal, like you know, as the Irish government is because they're taking in a lot of refugees, but like these small communities that only have a couple of thousand of Irish speakers, and they're like special areas of like you know Irish language conservation, and they're dropping
Mm-hmm.
nearly an extra. There's only like maybe 2,000 people in the thing, and they're dropping 500 refugees into those towns and the last vestiges of our language towns. And it's like it's really challenging, I suppose,
Yeah,
even
the
keep the
language is
language
going to
alive.
mutate. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It'll mutate and it'll form into
Yeah,
another
but that's
vernacular or another
but
dialect.
that's and that's the
yeah.
thing. Even Irish the way it is, even Gaelic the way it is a mutation between um, like the original Celts, right? But then
Well,
also
there's
there
old
was the
Irish. It's
influence.
actually there's old
There was
Irish,
the
and it's a
influence.
completely different language.
Yeah, it's
Like
completely
old
different
English, like old
language.
English, like akin to old
Yeah, yeah.
English.
Because there was also the influence of the Vikings and all the Norwegian people that came in. Like, I
And then the
mean,
Normans after. Yeah, the
that's the way
Vikings
what it
first,
was.
Normans second. Yeah.
Mm.
And so what's more important? Is it maintaining some language or maintaining the town? Like, right, if like we have a town that we can see this town is no longer going to exist in 50 years because there's nobody moving there. The people who are born there move out, and the only people that we can get to go there are refugees. And it seems to me if you want that town to survive on, that's the
Yeah, maybe you're right, but you know what? I suppose the argument you'd probably put against that is the culture. As in, the language is the culture, and in many ways, it's destroying the
Mm.
last vestige of the culture, and it's
oh yeah.
changing. So like
I mean, language and culture are almost interchangeable. I do agree with that.
exactly,
But
Yeah.
exactly.
I do think that's the case. I do think maybe in like 200 years you'll have somebody who's like purely like Persian looking and they're speaking like fucking Gaelic like perfectly, right?
Well, there is such a thing. There is such a thing in linguistics as language revitalization, where they try to bring back
hmm
dead languages or try to keep languages alive, kind of like Shane's talking about. And
hmm
there are people looking into those fields. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
we can
Actually,
cover that.
there's a very funny documentary of a Chinese student that somehow got enthralled with the Irish language and learnt it like verbatim and learnt it very well. I came over to the Gaeltacht area and like everybody was absolutely shocked that like this guy arrives from China and he speaks better Irish than the majority of anybody from Ireland. Like
That's
it's
got to
like
be awesome. Yeah.
it's pretty cool like when you see stuff like that. But it was an interesting kind of piece.
I imagine to Chinese people, and this is just an assumption, but I imagine most every other language is pretty simplistic in its expressions compared to what they have to deal with. So especially in their writing and their graphemics. But
Except maybe Russian.
yeah, Russian's pretty deep.
I always heard Icelandic is the hardest one. That was the test that they gave to your man to learn the languages, the language learning test guy,
Yeah.
whoever he was.
Yeah,
But he learned
Icelandic would be hard because it's kind of separated by water from a lot of other places. So its dialects have been maintained and not fallen away.
And it does have a very peculiar pronunciation of words. It's very interesting.
Their register and the way that they have their intonations and their voices and stuff is all different too.
Yep.
So it's really cool to think about. Shane, you're more than welcome to stay up here with us because there probably won't be a lot of people calling in right at the early part of it because they always know I get to blabbing. But I'm going to go ahead and start. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start my thing where usually I just go on about the topic and, you and me and all the speakers and stuff, we can talk about it as I go through it. So hello, everyone. Welcome to Torture Time. If you're listening in the future, please subscribe to the Pangburn Hangout. And follow us on YouTube as well at Pangburn Philosophy. Please go and subscribe. Tonight, guys, we're going to go over. What we've been over has been the general idea, the general disciplines of linguistics. Syntax, semantics, lexis, lexicons, morphology, morphemes, phonetics, phonology, pragmatic. We talked about all that kind of stuff last time. We're going to get into a little bit more of just the general fields of linguistics and just maybe learn a few more things that are specific. We're not going to go too long because, in all honesty, if we study everything about linguistics, there's so much technical jargon, we'll get lost in it. So we just want to cover what linguistics is about and the specifics of semantics, things like that. So, and if I talk about something twice, oh well, we'll beat it to death. That's the way of the torture time. So let me make sure all my speakers are here. Hohenheim, you with us? Hohenheim?
I am.
You there? You is? All right. Nivik, you with us? You here, buddy? A copy. Perry, you here? Perry's just got home from the gym. You may not be.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I got you.
He's on the treadmill.
Okay. Sounds like he was in the shower. You got your phone in the shower, Barry? That's sexy. I'm not gonna lie.
No, you wish.
You wish. All right. So, and Scott's probably gonna fall asleep on us, so I'm not even gonna call on him.
Present and accounted for. Come on now, buddy.
Scott's already talking more than he has in the past 2 weeks on the show.
Yeah, I've had a rough one. I need some, distraction. This is a
you need some distraction.
All the best wishes to Scott.
Yeah, we're not.
Yes,
we're not
we love you,
Scott.
Speedy recovery.
Yeah.
Fuck
Speedy recovery.
He started talking again today. Like the other night, he didn't even know his name. He knows his name now. He can repeat, he was telling the nurse his entire life story today. So his mind's there. So we're fucking
right on.
good. Yeah.
Love hearing that.
Good job, man. That's awesome. Very happy for that. All righty then. All right, everybody's accounted for. So let's start talking. Anybody, anytime, you can interrupt me, ask a question, talk about what you want to. Just any speaker, anytime, say what you want. Let's talk about. So we have been over everything from syntax to morphology and all that stuff. We're not going to go over that again unless we somehow come across it. But let's go into pragmatics. Okay, so in general linguistics, pragmatics is basically like the study of how context contributes to meaning. So how context contributes to the semantics of sentences. The field of study overall evaluates how human language is utilized in social interactions, as well as the relationship between the interpreter and the interpreted. So, linguists who specialize in pragmatics are called pragmaticians. And the field has been seriously represented since 1986 by the International Pragmatics Association. So pragmatics encompasses phenomena including implicature, which is, it's kind of an easy thing to explain. It's when a speaker suggests or implies with an utterance, even though it is not literally expressed.
So pragmatics encompasses phenomena including implicature, speech acts, relevance, and conversation, as well as nonverbal communication. So theories of pragmatics go hand in hand with theories of semantics, which studies aspects of meaning, and syntax, which examines sentence structures, principles, and relationships. So pragmatics, semantics, syntax, they're all very important because syntax is how the sentence makes sense logically as the structure of it, the structural rules. And then the semantics is the meanings of each individual word or the meanings of sentences as they are said or as they are put down. This of course encompasses all languages, not just English, but I have to focus on English because it's the only one I know. So we'll be talking about English. Let's see. This is interesting to know. The ability to understand another speaker's intended meaning is what pragmatists call pragmatic competence. Pragmatics emerged as its own subfield in the 1950s after the pioneering work of J.L. Austin and Paul Gries. So, the areas of interest in pragmatics are the study of the speaker's meaning, focusing not on the phonetic or grammatical form of an utterance, but on what the speaker's intentions and beliefs are. That's an interesting one. It's also in the study of the meaning and context and the influence that a given context can have on the message. So the message requires knowledge of the speaker's identities and the place and time of the utterance.
Yeah.
Do you see how all this context gets really, really complicated, Perry? Still with me?
Yeah, definitely.
I figured this would be like your thing. So
Yeah, I like how you started with like the pragmatic implications of defining semantics, and the pragmatic compensation is trying to figure out the intent, and that is essentially what semantics is, trying to figure out the meaning or the intent of the speaker.
yeah,
And like you said,
yeah.
we're dealing with English. If you ever run dry of material, you can start learning Gaelic or Russian. Or
We'll learn
Greek.
Gaelic or Russian or I don't know.
I mean,
Mandarin's pretty
I was
fucking
kidding,
hard.
but
What about?
that would be awesome.
No, we'll definitely learn a new language. That's all my shows are going to be now, guys. We're going to learn new languages. It's going to be like Hooked on Phonics.
It'd be crazy. That'd be such like a high level show. You know what I mean? Like if we actually took that seriously and learned. I mean, if you do German or Greek, that's what I would like.
I do have to ask: are there any notions regarding this kind of thing, like before World War II? Right? Is it like back in Plato's time? Did anybody question like what somebody meant?
Oh, you mean like in terms of like specific linguistic like utterances and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that Socrates was all about it, you know, because
Yeah, didn't Socrates ask what the definition of everything was to the interlocutors and orators?
I mean, that's essential, though, right? So, like to me, I see if you see what happened around the time, like the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s. What was happening politically in the world was certainly going to affect philosophy, right?
you talking about like World War II and shit?
Yeah. Well, just like, but pre-World War II, just everything.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, everything together.
Well, yeah,
societies like all of a sudden coming into contact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, I mean, Wittgenstein, one of the most influential
linguists,
proponents of logic and linguistics. That was pre-30s, and even before that, a philologist by the name of Friedrich Nietzsche studied etymology and the translation of meaning of different languages to German and other languages. I mean,
that's right.
I still don't know exactly what your question was.
I was specifically referring to like what was brought up as the intent. Like, so if this is like a study of the intent of what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, pragmatics is the study of, just like I said a minute ago, the main area of interest is the study of the speaker's meaning, focusing not on the phonetic or grammatical form of an utterance, but on what the speaker's intentions and beliefs are.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you're asking
all I'm saying is like, to me, it sort of makes sense that it came around when it did. Once you had like newspapers who were like spewing a certain amount of nonsense, and that's when you all of a sudden you had to decide, well, what's this person actually mean? Because if we're living in small communities, this isn't even a question that we
well,
propose.
I can actually say something about Martin Luther, and I'm pretty sure the press was around during that time, and word
No,
of
no,
paper.
no. Martin Luther was
Yeah,
pre-printing press, wasn't he?
I thought that
I
it
thought that
was
was the
either
1500s was Luther, wasn't it?
it was either the press or the printing of Martin Luther's interpretation of the Bible, because his interpretation of the Bible spread widely through writing.
Let's see when the
Now
printing
I
press
don't.
was
Yeah,
invented.
because Martin Luther
Yeah,
was 1483. The printing press was like 1700s. Uh,
Printing press was around 1436. They don't know exactly,
yeah.
and it was
okay,
Johannes
Yeah.
Gutenberg.
so right at
I'm
that
pretty
time.
positive Martin Luther had a lot of influence via some sort of
The
writing
printing
that
press,
got
yeah.
out to. And if you're also asking about intent, Scott,
Yeah.
um, Kant had a huge had he really brought up that within his moral philosophy, and that's when.
Interesting. We lost you there,
And
Perry.
the
Yeah,
idea
we
of
lost you.
intent. Yeah.
Perry,
We
we lost
we
you, buddy.
lost your parents.
Sorry, I switched to Bluetooth. Can you hear me okay right now?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I
So
switched to
it
Bluetooth.
looks like Martin Luther was doing his thing in 1490s. Is what I'm
Yeah.
seeing.
Yeah.
So the printing press was 1436.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah,
a
that's a
bit
good
before his
chunk.
time.
That's 60 years. Yeah, that's a good chunk of time.
Hmm.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, my statement that Martin Luther got his word out via press,
By
I think
printing
still
press.
holds, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. 100% agreed.
But yeah, I don't know when I cut out, but Kant essentially had the notion of intent, is what I was saying.
Yeah.
Um, but then we have intent within linguistics and semantics,
Yeah.
which I'm not sure. I mean, I think it blew up with Wittgenstein around 1926.
Here, real quick, I'm
But
going to say
yeah, go
this.
for it. Go
So,
for it.
beginning around the 4th century BCE, the Warring States period, China also developed its own grammatical tradition. Aristotle laid the foundation of Western linguistics as the part of the study on rhetoric and his poetics. But
Nice.
however, Ferdinand de Saussure is widely acknowledged as the key figure in refocusing of the interest and as the founding father of modern linguistics.
Yeah.
So that he was 1857 through 1913.
Got it.
Yeah. So we can trace it all the way back to Aristotle's rhetoric, obviously, because he was very much dealing with linguistics and how to operate crowds and people and all that kind of stuff. But Ferdinand de Saussure. So I'm Saussure.
Yes.
Saussure. Yeah.
Saussure, I think.
Saussure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ferdinand de Saussure. Saussure. I don't fucking know.
Whatever.
Anyway. Doesn't matter. But yeah, that's interesting to know.
Would it be fair to say that like language has been a driver of like the type of colonialism, like like the the Anglosphere world, like since English was nearly made the primary language, has been like the de facto base on law, culture, life, like in so many aspects, mainly through the how would you say, the mechanism of the language of English. You know what I mean? That made almost English laws supreme, and their
Well,
legal system,
British
their legal system.
colonialism did a lot for that.
Yeah, and
But that's what I'm saying. But
I
I'm
would
saying
even
it's like
make
the actual furtherment of the English language in many ways has been one of the largest mechanisms of incorporating people into the Anglosphere, like colonial kind of concept.
Yeah, go ahead,
it's
Scott.
been powerful. I was going to say I do think I mean understanding the colonial aspirations of a place like Britain, it seems to me come down to like the fact that this was a place that was taken over and over and over and over and over and over again, right? Like this is all they ever fucking knew for the longest time. And once they got some power, they're like, motherfuckers, we're taking you over.
The widespreadedness of the Anglosphere is, or the Anglo-Saxon sphere of English language, is because of British colonialization. It really is. I mean, that's the reason why English is so widespread, is because they wanted to conquer everything.
I mean,
You know what I mean? So
on the back of that, like the point that I'd make is that like the reason why the English were so brutal to the Irish, as in the Vikings came, the Normans came to Ireland,
oh yeah,
they assimilated, and they actually they appreciated the Irish Breton law, our legal system, like and it was fair. But the reason why the English wanted to destroy the Irish language, which they had very much success in, was because they wanted to destroy the neighbouring legal system of Breton law next door.
Okay.
So they actually they destroyed our language so that we wouldn't remember our legal system. And the whole thing that our system was is that the difference was is that every offence was an offence against the king or the state, where every offence was an offence against the victim of the crime in our legal system. And de facto that is the legal system that's used in the Western world, where every offence is an offence against the state, and more so than the victim of the crime. If you get me.
No, I get you.
But
It's interesting that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Ain't the English language a mother language, or a lot of other parts of other languages are created, and it's the biggest vocabulary. It's got the most words out of
one of them,
and the most evolving languages. Like every day, there's a new word that's added.
Do you know French have for the word for internet, Nev?
No, can you hear me?
Yeah,
no,
they don't have a word for the internet.
Well,
they just call it transfer of information over wires, because French language, they refuse to add new words to it.
Oh, there's okay.
The language, the word for jello in French is just jello. There are examples of these words that the French just won't accept any new words. Period. That's fucking end of story. So
the French have always had a problem with the English as well. So that also they really don't want to take English words.
Yeah. That was when we were really separated, because what was over the next hill was far away to us at that time. So, languages in another culture could be, completely different than other ones. Unlike now, we can talk to Salman, and he's a citizen of the UAE, and he knows English as well as we do. You know what I mean? So
that the English it takes in other languages as well. It's kind of like it eats other languages. It's almost as if.
You think so?
No, the reason English is so popular is because it became the language of business. The reason it became the language of business is because and after World War II, all of Europe was bombed out and depleted, and it was up to America to supply everything. So we were the ones, when all industrial centers through all of Europe, which was the only place that was industrialized at that time, were gone. It was left to America. None of our industrial infrastructure had been touched, so people learned fucking English to deal with the Americans.
English is a bunch of languages chopped together. A lot of English words are a bunch of other languages chopped together to form an English word.
Exclamation is root Latin.
Most things, Nivik, come from Latin. If it's not an Eastern language, but it's a Western language, most things have their derivations back to Latin, which is what the Romans spoke.
But we also have Germanic words like kindergarten.
Yeah,
right?
Kindergarten.
Yeah.
Of course, English language is to change, though, in taking in parts of other languages in a way it's taking in other cultures.
Go ahead, Barry.
Are you saying it's a melting?
Oh, sorry.
I personally would argue against it. For example, the description of the expression of "I am happy" I am sad. Like in other languages, like for Irish, it's normally I'm over the moon, I'm under the weather. Like it's a description. It forces you to give a description rather than a singular word to, it's exactly what you were kind of saying about the French and the internet. They have to describe the method rather than actually,
it's like description through metaphor kind of thing.
Yeah, so you're forced to metaphor, and actually it's more creative in that sense. That kind of way. Where English is a lot more mundane and has one word, has one word to describe, and doesn't make you think on how you metaphor it. The kind of way.
Yeah, but we have the same thing in American English, like like that dog don't hunt. Are we talking about a dog that's refusing to hunt? No, that's not what we're talking about.
We're saying that shit doesn't work.
Yes.
God,
Americans do actually have that.
Hang on, Nivik, I'll get you in.
Which is interesting, but I do sort of attribute that to their.
But that's organic culture, I think.
Irish, well, there are 30 million Irish people living in the United States right now, and there's only 3 million Irish people living on the isle.
That's 5 or 6, but yeah.
Yeah, but that culture has been passed on to us, right? So like, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Like, culture gets passed on and moved, and fucking people.
And the idea of speaking in metaphors, etc., and all does come from the culture, probably from a lot of the diaspora and all the rest. Yeah, you're dead right.
Right. We got Nivik. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, the English word for aluminum. No, English say aluminium, and Americans say aluminum.
That's a dialect difference. Yeah.
Well, it's more efficient though. There's more syllables with aluminium.
Yeah, there is more syllables with aluminium. You're right.
But it's still spelled the same way. They're just adding that fucking syllable there, right?
Yeah, that extra phoneme.
I'm just saying. I'm just pointing out how Americans talk in a way where they break a word down to less syllables. Like I think probably
sometimes
there's like an evolution. I'm actually kind of interested in the evolution of American accent. The slang. I mean, like, slang turns into the language. The culture of the slang eventually turns into the language, right?
Yeah, you would want to study dialect. You would want to study like the dialect of a people. Like how a dialect changes over time of like how people in the north, I'm from the south, so I have a southern twang in my voice, but people from the north, instead of saying car, they say ka, or things like that, so there's a different dialect. Yeah, park the ka. There's different dialects of the same English all over the United States, and that's just because of the different little small subcultures that keep those dialects alive, and then they morph as it goes along.
And then they become a word, and eventually, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, words do get added all the time. I mean, that's a fact. Most of the time, it's through the scientific community. Words aren't usually just made up in natural language most of the time. That's not usually accepted. But go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, Nivek, if you want to hear something wild, so there's good proof. There's good solid proof that about like this, like 1500s, people in Britain speak the same way we speak now. And the only reason they have this certain affectation is because a certain king came along that talked a certain way, and everybody sort of picked it up, and it just became something that everybody did, and then that developed out of that. It was a whole long thing that happened. But British people used to talk like Americans.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from.
Can I respond to that, Scott?
Yes, please go ahead.
And it kind of refers to the original question that we started with from Shane, which is, how does political power arise from language, or something along the lines of that? And I would say to be careful and first establish whether our political power comes from language or whether it comes from ideas. Some philosopher back in the day may say that our ideas are dependent on our language, and that ideas perhaps aren't even a thing until we use some sort of language or gesture to gesture at it, to
formulate it.
And so
but I mean, it's not exactly what terrible twos is for a child. It's like literally they can't communicate what they want. They know what they want. They're trying to actually express it, but they don't have the language to express it. So I mean, for example, if we all learned that, remember they came up with that like Amerno or whatever it's called. Like it's like the easiest language ever to learn. It's like half Spanish, half this and whatever like that. And
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they came up and it has only so many words to learn and all that.
It's Esperanza.
Esperanto. That's exactly the one. Esperanto. But if we actually all spoke Esperanto, and if it's that easy to learn, and it's missing that many expressions and like language to express yourself, you'd be caught in situations, I'm sure, that you'd be nearly like a terrible two, where you want to say something but you don't have the words to say it. You know, that kind of way.
So Shane, is it ideas then, or is it language that controls the power, that dictates the power?
See, I think we're currently seeing, even in the modern political sphere, an attempt to control language, for those very same reasons. You know, that kind of way, because it is a political and cultural ideal, and what the war is against the language being used, like, you know, trans women, etc. Like, you know, stuff like that. And the arguments over what does this mean? What is a woman? You know what I mean? What is?
That's all linguistics. A lot of it is.
Yeah. And there are political battles being fought at the moment, showing exactly what you're talking about. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Scott.
A lot of those political battles are just the soup du jour, right? These are, like, if I can go back and try to remember a political battle that really meant, like, it was so important from 10 years ago, who fucking knows, right? Like, these are things that don't fucking matter anymore. And to me, Perry, like, I don't think it's ideas or language that gives anything political power.
Well, I mean, it has to be ideas, right, Scott? That has to be involved.
No, I don't think so, because two people can have a better idea, but if one person
has physicality?
If one person has resources, that's what fucking wins.
So reality, right? Okay.
Yeah.
The will to power, as Nietzsche would say, rather than the will to ideas.
And sometimes what happens is people have ideas that fucking work really well with what's going on in reality, and they succeed, and then it becomes like ingrained in their mind that like, no, it's about our ideas. It's like, no, wrong, dog.
Well, you can use
it's whoever's. I'm sorry.
Sorry, you could use the threat of power with language too, which is an interesting caveat.
That's what I wanted to bring. Isn't it just the mob majority rule, or wealth that brings political power?
Let's not get too far off on political power, but no, it's okay, buddy. It's all right. We'll go into tangent mode later, but we're just specifically talking about how language, right now, at least in the context of this conversation, how language has a certain power to it, and how the fact that, you know, the English language has spread itself so ubiquitously across the planet because of British colonialism and all kinds of other reasons. Go ahead, Scott.
Like, I don't think this point's has been brought up yet, but the fact that the English language actually adopts more new words every year than any other language.
Oh yeah,
Nivik actually said that earlier. Yeah.
I'd like to hear what Professor Painter has to say.
A huge factor.
And continue with the discussion.
Almost as if it's not the same thing, right? It's almost as if if you're changing constantly, then.
Oh, dude. Yeah, dude. Can you imagine, Niv, in like 300 years, like a native English speaker is going to like be saying words that are like a third of them are going to be in Chinese, a third of them are.
That's my point. English.
It's still going to be English, right?
English cannibalizes other languages and eats it pretty much.
It doesn't cannibalize it. It just doesn't say no. We're not going to add new words, right?
So Nivik, are you saying that Nivik? Are you saying that eventually the world will be all English speakers?
Well, I mean, if the way English moves in every day, it's adding a word, and it's cannibal. It's like it's chopping. You see, like one word will be a bunch of other languages chopped together to make that one word.
Okay.
I'm just going down that line. Is all.
No, I see that line of logic, but what I'm asking is there is any other language doing that, or is English the
French,
only language?
and
Hang
if the
on,
French,
hang
if the
on,
French,
hang on, Nivik, listen to what I'm saying. Is that the only language that is cannibalizing, or are there other languages that also cannibalize other languages? Is English the main one that's going to take over?
I wanted to address Scott's point where he made a
I
good
know,
point.
but I was asking you a question.
I'm trying to answer you.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on, man.
I'm trying to address Scott's point when he brought up.
Okay, go ahead and address Scott.
No, it's the same thing. It's along the same lines that you're talking about when he was talking about French language, and it doesn't want to change, and it stays the same. And the English language, it's busy eating other languages, so it's kind of putting itself in a position of obscurity.
Yeah. So the only thing I would say is be careful about putting things, especially if we're talking about language, as like in oppositional views, right? So these things aren't like two things that are in opposition. They're just two things that are. Here's a language that doesn't take in new words. Here's a language that takes in more words than any other language. Which one's going to last, right? It's the one that's going to be changing and evolving with the times, as where less and less people are going to speak the true French, right?
All right, you ready, guys? You ready?
Yeah.
Real quick. English speakers in the world, 1,121,000,000. Mandarin speakers, 1,107,000,000. Hindi, 698 million, and then it's like Spanish, French, Arabic, and Russian.
Yep.
So English just barely beats out Mandarin Chinese.
Yeah, but
I don't know if we can say, Nivik, hang on. I don't know if we can say that it's quote unquote cannibalizing the others, because we're all connected in the world now with the internet. Eventually, there's the languages are going to morph and everything's going to become more connected, and everybody will immigrate to other countries and stuff. And there will be a new something. It won't be English anymore. It'll be something else. You know what I mean? It'll be English 2.0 or something else. In 100 years or so, 200 years, who knows?
Contrast to what you're saying.
Like eventually somebody will change the name to Solaris, right? And then we'll all speak Solaris. What does it fucking matter?
I do agree, and the only thing when you're accounting out the numbers of people that speak each language, I was about to almost make that point myself earlier, is that it's about I think languages are like have a snowball effect, and English has one of the largest snowballs, and therefore will be adding on more exponentially every time it rolls.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right? And the only thing in between English and Mandarin being the close second, I'd say culturally the Chinese are conditioned to be less creative than the Western world, so therefore they're adding less linguistics to their language. It's the same way they're probably adding less technology and more.
I don't know. Maybe there's a case study for that, but I don't know if we can say that for sure. I'm not saying you're wrong.
I know. I'm not saying I'm right either, but I'm just saying in my gut, that's what I think. The kind of way.
The contrast to what you're saying, what you're doing is you're taking one English, and where that language growth is by other people taking in the language versus Chinese, and there just being a billion of them.
Not necessarily. I think it's cultural as well. That's what I'd say. There's a cultural creativity also in the Western world more so than the Chinese. Like as even the way like.
Nivik, don't yell, buddy. Nivik, slow down.
I would make the point that from a young age, Chinese people like anecdotally what it is like if a classroom is full of Chinese students and a classroom is full of normal Western students that speak English, there'll be more. A teacher says something. There'll be more questions and kickback from the Western class than there would be from a Chinese class, because the Western class are more inclined to question authority and be more creative and think outside the box more so than the average
It is
Chinese.
an intuition to say that Chinese people are more apt to authority. I do agree with you on that. That's probably a case study that's been done. I can believe that for sure. Can we let Nivik get in here real quick after you finish? Go ahead and finish up if you wanted to.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make another quick point on exactly like I'll bring up the story that I told you about my grandmother when I tried to speak Irish to her. Mm-hmm. Like she's a Latin and Irish teacher, so she always tried to teach me the old Irish and the correct Irish, And if I wasn't doing correct Irish, it wasn't worth speaking at all.
Right.
And for me, that kind of helped kind of destroy the language, as in it didn't foster me to speak Irish. It made me scared to speak Irish because I was being corrected constantly. So like so therefore, like the saying of like is fearlo me kind Gaeilge British and a bear clichte, I prefer to speak broken Irish than clear English. It's kind of all about context. Get my context out. Get what I'm trying to say, not the way I'm saying it. I'm doing my best in the way that I'm doing it.
You're dead on what we're talking about. Yeah, we're talking about the pragmatics. Absolutely.
Exactly. And it's not exactly it's not exactly the right way to say it in the correct, like old Irish way, but I'm actually saying it in Irish in a way that's understandable. So please accept it. And, my grandmother wouldn't accept it from me, which was disappointing, but it didn't foster me to speak it with her. But it's an issue that I noted, you know, that kind of way. It's pragmatism, exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Scott, 1 second. Nivik, go ahead, brother.
No,
what were you going to say?
I was just pointing out a small island, England, in comparison to a big country, China, 1 billion people. In how the English language grew and spread to be compared to.
It is impressive that it spread so much, but that might have been because everybody was conquering everybody in these times.
Or
when
possibly
English
that the British colonized China, possibly, like when you think about it. They actually were there
colonized
too.
everything, but yeah.
They were there too. I know, but they were there, and like all the opium wars, etc., like they were there. So like they actually were enforcing English on the Chinese, where the Chinese were never in England enforcing Chinese on the English or the Americans.
Let's hear what Peter has to say, because he's from the same area that you're from. Peter, you there?
Of course.
Colin Scale.
Oh, yeah. On a wire pod.
On a wire pod.
No, Hobberay, don't mention it.
I was going to say, do we even have a word for hello, or is it dia dit, or was it always kind of a metaphor?
It's dia dit. It's God be with you. That's what it means. Dia gwich. God be with you is our hello.
Yeah, it's kind of a fucking weird thing, but we have slán. We have a word for goodbye. Hello is always a question. I kind of thought to, like, you know.
1 sec, Nivik, I'll get you in.
That's it. Then there's a million slans. There's slán agus like Moira agus Joseph agus fucking like fucking
ways of saying goodbye. Like I mean, saying hello is always is
10 blessings with you while you're leaving. We made fucking Joseph bless you and fucking Mary bless you and the fucking whole.
I cannot tell you two apart when I'm not looking at the screen. Sorry, that's shitty for me to say, but I thought that was funny.
That's it.
Speaking of
all this Irish look the same.
I'm speak like this, you know.
All of us
speaking
Southerners.
Accent.
All of us Southerners are the same too.
Classic.
Well, we don't have a hello, do we? Do we have a direct hello?
No, see, but we don't even have I am happy or I am sad. You know what I mean? It's like sadness is on me, or I have the feeling of happiness. You can't say I am happy. You have to say like. Then there's like a green I'm on the pig's back. I'm over the moon. I'm under the weather. It's like all those sayings come from an expression of Irish. There's no I am happy, I am sad, and that is definitive.
Hohenheim says, "What's the Craig?"
What's the Craig? What's the crack? What's the crack?
Oh,
well, that's a very open-ended question.
It's destroying communities.
That's what it is. What's the crack?
It's destroying communities, and we slag
it. Scott, let's get Scott in here.
You could ask that. Yeah.
Let's get Scott in here. What's up, Scott?
Go for it.
Oh, I sort of lost my frame of mind and what was going on there, but
I was loving it.
I did think for a second. You know, it'd be fucking awesome if I could like have like the intro of a song just be Shane and Peter talking in Irish, just like go on for like a good 3 minutes.
Oh,
Tell me up to kind of square guys for a laugh.
No, I'm totally serious.
I
was just saying I could speak Irish if you'd like that. That's all.
Like I am like like 98, 90% until they got higher than 90% Irish. My family's all
really?
from there, but I've just been in America. Like family's been in America so long, I'm American. But like
that's why you can drink like a fish, Scott.
Between 90 and 100%, where do you say is?
Ballincollig is where I'm from. My family.
Shytown. How many? He's like Shytown. You drive into there, all you can smell is fucking cow manure. That's it, I tell you.
Oh, that sounds about right, because my families are like
they eat well though. It's good fertilizer.
Ranchers and fucking, ranchers and preachers.
Well, that's it. It's all good.
Yep.
That's us over here. Peter, you have any more thoughts until I move on?
No, you carry on. Let's go.
All right,
let's get out.
Carry. No, you don't have to get out of here. Stay with us.
Next.
Okay, we're gonna just because this is so important to what we're talking about right now. We're gonna continue pragmatics, which basically I said a moment ago. We're going to go over this again just for future audience people. The study of the speaker's meaning, focusing not on the phonetic or grammatical form of an utterance, but on what the speaker's intentions and beliefs are. Another area of interest of pragmatics is the study of the meaning in context and the influence that given context can have on the message itself. So it requires knowledge of the speaker's identities and the place and time of the utterance to understand the full context. The study of relative distance, both social and physical, between speakers in order to understand what determines the choice of what is said and what is not said. So that's another big part of what pragmatics is attempting to understand. It's also the studying of what is not meant as opposed to the intended meaning, what is unsaid or unintended or unintentional within conversation or within communication. They want to know about information structure, the study of how utterances, phonemes and stuff, are marked in order to efficiently manage the common ground of referred entities between the speaker and the hearer. So, there's also formal pragmatics, which is the study of how those aspects of the meaning of and use for which context. This is a shitty sentence. I wrote this down and I wrote it down like an ass. The study of those aspects of meaning and use for which context of use is an important factor, but fuck that. It also pragmatists also study the role of pragmatics in development of children with how language develops. Okay, so now let's get to the ambiguity, right? We were just talking about this. We went over it a big amount. So instead of talking about in Irish, we'll say in pragmatics, ambiguity refers to when it is difficult to infer meaning without knowing the context, the identity of the speaker, or the speaker's intent. For example, the sentence, quote, "You have a green light," quote, is ambiguous to anyone who isn't in the Western Hemisphere. Without knowing the context, you could reasonably interpret this to mean, number one, the space that belongs to you has a green ambient lighting. You have a green light. You could also, if I said you have a green light, you could say you are driving through a green traffic signal. Or if I say you have a green light, I could mean you no longer have to wait to continue driving.
Yep.
I could also mean you are permitted to proceed in a non-driving context. Or your body is cast in a greenish glow. You have a green light. Or you possess a light source which radiates green. Yeah. So like that's the ambiguity of like these terms and phrases and all these different languages. Like you have a green light, go. That's what go means, all this kind of stuff. And like all of what you and Peter were talking about, your hellos and your goodbyes. And there's not an actual statement for I am happy and I am sad and all this. Yeah.
Exactly. And my point is that I watch a lot of people come to Ireland, like for example, one of my cousins is going out with a Brazilian girl who came here, and her English wasn't very good when she arrived first. And then as her English got good, the problem is that Irish people speak in such we ask questions that would, like, if you were Germanic or something like that, you'd give a literal response. And if you give that literal response, we'd be sitting there going, what the fuck is this person at? Like I can't believe they're actually answering our question. Like that's not what we intended. Like they're all throwaway utterances, exactly the way you were saying it. Like they're non-intended questions. Like what's it? How are you getting on? We don't actually want to hear how you're getting on. It's like,
no arms and no legs.
If you go to answer, oh, I'm getting on okay, I'm doing this, it's like, oh, you're like going, what the fuck's wrong with this person here? You know, that kind of way, like, it's like I didn't actually want to hear your story, but exactly what you're saying is the context and the utterance isn't actually meaning the literal. If you read what we're saying, we don't literally mean it.
It's like,
you know,
that joke that there's a guy at a bus stop and he's no arms and no legs, and the bus pulls up and the bus driver says, how are you getting on? You know?
How you getting on? Oh, that's a good one.
That is good.
That's
all right.
Dad joke if I ever heard one right there. I love it.
It's classic.
I'm saving that one.
But
Go ahead, Nivet. I'm sorry, Scott.
Even all that's superbly subjective, right?
I mean, like, we can choose a bunch of different sentences. Like, I went to the bank. Am I going to the edge of a river, or am I going to where money is kept?
Oh, no, I wasn't saying about what you said. I was saying.
Oh, I was just making a random.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're totally right with that. Like, there are, I can say I'm having a fuck time, and that can mean 1,000 different things. I could say the word fuck. I don't have to say any different word, but I can say fuck.
Actually, do you know what? A great example that I can give is like if someone says
information being betrayed.
Sorry, it's like how you get the answer to how you getting on in Irish or what's the story is like the actual answer is grand. It's the most vague thing, and you could be grand means that it's just a response. It doesn't mean that you're grand.
It doesn't mean grandiose, by the way.
You could be depressed, you could be elated, you could be anything in between, but you're grand. I'm grand, sure. You know what I mean? You're fucking always grand.
Right.
Everything's grand. Everything's all right. Like it's a vague response. It's more of a response than a meaning. If you get me.
Most of the time when I'm walking down the street around here, if I look up at somebody to greet them, I'll say, "All right, then." You know what I mean?
All right. Yeah.
A lot of the time I'll say that.
But what about now?
What?
What about now?
What about now?
Go on then.
You're all right. He's all right. He's all right.
You've got me in some kind of loop.
You've got me.
Time for a cigarette.
It's grand, lad. Don't worry about it.
All right, it's grand. So yeah, we see the ambiguity that all of these things can mean. We see the syntactic ambiguity that comes as a part of this and these problems, because when we're trying to communicate with each other through semantics, and we say something and we mix up one word, we change the entire meaning of the entire sentence. You know what I mean? So it's being specific with semantics in these linguistic propositions and events it's just so difficult. Like right now, I'm trying difficultly to find the words to describe what I'm thinking, and it's all depends on how you guys take those words in and referentialize them to yourselves and rationalize them in your own mind. It's so crazy to think about that what I say could mean something completely different to someone else, just because of all these contexts of ambiguity.
And for example, another great example that I can give is that one of my good friends, he moved over to Switzerland and he runs a language school, and they do Italian, German, Spanish, French, English. They do all the languages and they swap over, and he's multilingual completely, and he runs a language kind of get together. So it's really interesting. But what he says to me always goes like, the funniest thing about the Germanic languages is that they only say their verb at the end of the sentence. So you actually have to wait till they finish to understand what they're saying. So like, he goes like, in English, like you nearly know what they're saying before they're finished. So therefore you can overcut them, and you can cut in and you can go, oh no, and you get a lot more. That's the way we converse. All of us are overcutting each other constantly. Where in German, you actually have to wait till the end because you don't know what they're talking about until they fucking finish the sentence. You know that kind of way?
Yeah. So, I get what you mean.
the whole conversation changes. The way people converse changes. And the way people interrupt each other and have their ideas and express their ideas over each other in a flow of ideas changes dramatically because of the structure of the language. And you
it's
don't
like
get the
how we
verbs
have
to
a
the very
subject
end.
and a predicate and verbs and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Other languages might have that flipped around, so you might interrupt them to where they're not even talking about the subject of the
And they
sentence yet.
always slag Russian for never getting to the point, and the German language is like you actually have to listen to the end. So people have a lot more patience to listen to other people in Germanic cultures because they won't understand them until they listen to the end. And whereas in the West, in English speaking countries, we're more inclined to overtalk because we can get the gist before they've finished. You know, that kind of way. It just changes.
Yeah.
Changes a lot. Not always, but it for a large part.
Yeah. Let's read this part real quick. So it says, we can talk about another one. The sentence, Sherlock saw the man with binoculars, could mean that Sherlock observed the man using binoculars, or it could mean that Sherlock observed a man who was holding binoculars. That's syntactic ambiguity, basically what we've been talking about. The meaning of the sentence depends upon an understanding of the context and the speaker's intent. As defined in linguistics, though, a sentence is an abstract entity. It's just a string of abstract words divorced from non-linguistic context, as opposed to an utterance, which is a concrete example of a speech act, like speaking, or giving a specific context with your hands, or doing other forms of linguistics. Mm-hmm. You know, the more closely conscious subjects about linguistics, people stick to common words, idioms, phrasings, dialects, topics, the more easily others can surmise their meaning. The further that these people stray away from the common expressions and topics, the wider variations in their interpretations in the communication. So that suggests that sentences do not have intrinsic meaning, and that there is no meaning associated with a sentence or a word intrinsically, or that either it can represent an idea only symbolically. So the cat sat on the mat is a sentence in English. If someone were to say to someone else, the cat sat on the mat, the act is itself an utterance. So that implies that a sentence, term, expression, or word cannot implies that a sentence, expression, or word cannot symbolically represent a single true meaning. Such meaning is underspecified, which cat sat on which mat, and it's also potentially ambiguous. So by contrast, the meaning of an utterance can be inferred through knowledge of both its linguistic and non-linguistic context. In mathematics, with Berry's paradox, there arises a similar systematic ambiguity with the word definable, which, if you want to look into Berry's paradox, I had to go look up it earlier. It's not super important to look at here, but I mean, it's something to note. Berry's paradox. Look it up if you're interested. But
the word infinity,
that's
the whole quagmire.
Yeah. So the difference between like an utterance and a phoneme is like, an utterance is like intervals between speech, like that's the utterance. And then of course you get the phonemes. We explain this. The phonemes are the individual pieces of the words, like I, s, t, like letter sounds basically, that make up the entirety of a word or an utterance. But the utterance is, the sentence is abstract. The utterance is what happens when you communicate. So that's why you'll hear me and Perry using the word utterance a lot, because it's the most general way to talk about language. You don't have to talk about syntax or phonology or morphology or any of that stuff. You can just say utterance and be very general about it. Just a series of noises and phonemes to mean something, assigned meaning of something. So let's see. If you guys want to talk about something, I gotta get my notes together real quick.
Another great example, I think, of exactly what you're saying is the idea of and some people are actually thinking. Some people literally just say it in between every word. It's like sometimes it means I actually just stop. Wait a minute, I'm actually thinking. Sometimes it's just slipped into conversation completely, not by choice, by the person saying whatever they prefer to not say or but like they're interesting things. Like, and then like there's good examples of like people from rich areas like with that like at the end of it, and those kind of words that kind of slip into there's like utterances are a very interesting part of linguistics. You're dead right, and there's elements of class, and there's elements of there's definitely an element of class to utterance. I'd say like people try to define themselves by to different levels of social hierarchy through their utterances, and certain utterances are seen as below them, and like I'd never say the kind of way, or there's different sounds almost made by people. You almost feel I don't know. It's just like for me, I think language has a lot to. It does play into class, the kind of way, and the way people try to portray themselves.
I do know what you mean. I don't disagree with you. I'm still just reading over my notes, fine, because there's a lot we can cover on pragmatics. We can get into the referential uses of language, and the referential expressions in conversation. But I think we all pretty much have a pretty good understanding of what pragmatics is. There's also this thing that these individual pragmaticians have come up with. Roman Jacobson, if you guys want to look it up, has these 6 functions of language, and he basically he describes 6 constitutive factors of a speech event. And he says context overall, then the message that has the addresser and the addressee, the contact, and then the code, which the code is the underlying message within the semantics of what the person is trying to say. So like he's saying that the code is what we're intending to find out from the other person, and that's why he calls it that. But if you want to look up more of that, just go look up Jacobson's 6 functions of language. Anybody in the future, anybody listening, go for it. I don't think I'm going to... We pretty much get the idea of pragmatics. So let's go on to... What else did I wanted to talk about tonight? I've got so much written down, I don't even... because I have a lot of linguistics shows to go on, so I just take notes constantly and copy and paste things and paraphrase and all that shit. So we talked about pragmatics. Pragmatics is a part of general linguistics. Now let's talk about theoretical linguistics. Let's get a little on this here. It's not a huge thing to understand, but we do need to understand that it's an overarching subfield in linguistics. So just a real quick definition, and then we'll move on to something else. Theoretical linguistics can be understood in different ways. Both definitions can be taken as a reference to theory of language, or the branch of linguistics which inquires into the nature of language itself and seeks to answer fundamental questions as to what language is, or what the common ground of all languages is. So the goal of theoretical linguistics can also be the construction of a general theoretical framework for the description of any language. So basically, we've been doing theoretical linguistics. We're talking about the fundamental nature of the theory of language, and how do we answer the fundamental questions as to what language is, and how can we find the common ground in what all in all languages, Another use of the term in theoretical linguistics, another use of the term depends on the organization of linguistics into different subfields. The term theoretical linguistics is commonly juxtaposed with applied linguistics. So you got the theoretical, and then you have the applied, So this perspective implies that the aspiring language professional, example, a teacher or a student, must first learn the theory properties of the linguistic system, or what Saussure called internal linguistics. This is followed by practice or studies as applied in the field of linguistics. The dichotomy is not fully unproblematic because language pedagogy and language technology and other aspects of applied linguistics include theoretical linguistics as well. So they're kind of they're at opposite. They look at opposite sides of the spectrum, applied linguistics as opposed to theoretical linguistics, just like applied mathematics and theoretical mathematics. But they Ferdinand de Saussure showed that they're intertwined. So The term general linguistics is used to distinguish core linguistics from other types of the study in the field. However, because college and university linguistics is largely distributed with the institutes and departments of a relatively small number of national languages, some larger universities also offer courses and research programs in general linguistics, which may cover exotic and minority languages or cross-linguistic studies. There's new ways to study language coming out all the time from all these different universities, but that's pretty much what theoretical linguistics is. It's just like theoretical mathematics. We're getting into talking about language and what it is, and how, the study of language as an abstract object. Right? Let me take a drink, guys. My mouth is killing me.
One
Perry, you still with us, bro?
Yeah, one thing that comes to mind when you say theoretical versus applied linguistics is a priori versus a posteriori. I don't know if you'd have any pushback
big time, yeah,
against that.
No pushback at all.
Yeah,
That's
they're pretty similar.
Mm-hmm. I think that's how they would come at it is theoretical linguistics are going to be more focused on how we can rationalize it, and applied linguistics is going to be more about the speech acts or the utterances, right?
Could you maybe say something again about speech acts? Because John Searle talked about speech acts, and I think he may even talk about it. Another guy huge in the linguistics game. John Searle, another huge proponent to the linguistics game.
Yes.
He said something about speech acts, and I think he wrote a book about it as well. I don't know. Could you?
I'll read off of it real quick.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So, speech act is something expressed by an individual that not only presents information but performs an action as well. For example, the phrase "I would like some soup. Could you please pass it to me?" is considered a speech act as it expresses the speaker's desire to acquire the soup, as well as presenting a request that someone passes them the soup. So, according to Kent Bach, almost any speech act is really the performance of several acts at once, distinguished by different aspects of the speaker's intention. There is the act of saying something, what one does in saying it, such as requesting or promising, and how one is trying to affect one audience. Interesting.
So...
The contemporary use of the term goes back to J.L. Austin's development of performative utterances and his theory of locutionary and perlocutionary acts. I don't know what those are. We'll have to look at it. It says speech acts serve their function once they are said or communicated. These are commonly taken to include acts such as apologizing, promising, ordering, answering, requesting, complaining, warning, inviting, refusing, congratulating. So I guess those are speech acts.
Okay, so there is, I guess what I'm getting is that there's some physical action being either requested or commanded.
That's what it's sounding like to me.
Okay.
From what I've read, it's kind of ambiguous to me as well, buddy. I don't really 100% know the difference between, because we could just say utterance, because it doesn't matter if the when it says speech acts serve their function once they are said or communicated, and then it says these are commonly taken to include acts such as apologizing, promising, ordering, answering, requesting, complaining, right? I'm assuming because that it deals with an action. You are making a speech act about an action. The speech is directly related to the action that's going to happen.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I guess that makes enough sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes enough sense to me. I can't dissect it any better. We'd have to have a linguist on here. But the speech act is I am getting food and I'm saying it as I'm getting the food. I guess that would be a speach act. But I don't know what wouldn't. I guess non-speech acts are just generalized utterances, and they don't have, the sky is blue, I guess, would be not a speech act. I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah, like descriptive. would be different.
Let's see if Google has anything to say about it. What is not a speech act? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, this place says a speech act is an utterance, because it's the general term. A speech act is an utterance that serves a function in communication. It says we perform speech acts when we offer an apology, greeting, request, complaint, same thing. So same thing.
A lot of Matthew.
Yeah. Yeah. So who did you say was saying speech acts a lot? You said John Searle?
I think perhaps wrote a book on it, or an essay at the very least.
Yeah. That's the act that I still don't 100% understand it, but I think we've pretty much nailed it down as best as we laymen can understand. That is the act of Go ahead.
It would make sense, and we could maybe even bring it back to the idea of intent. That the pragmatic compensation, I believe, is what you called it, where we have this idea of intent, and we can really understand the intent of someone when they are precise and specific with their the idea of act and action within their speech. Will you pass me the round bowl of bread so that I can fill my, not be hungry anymore?
I don't know if a question is a speech act. I would assume it is, but it doesn't necessarily say that on here.
So you were saying apologies, commands, a couple of other things.
Is a threat of war a speech act?
Probably, yes, because it would be a part of demanding. So yeah.
Yeah,
that would make sense.
So anything that is promising, ordering, demanding, answering, requesting, complaining, warning, inviting, refusing, congratulating, those are all speech acts.
Reckoning?
Reckoning?
Threatening.
Oh, threatening. Yeah, threatening would be one too, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. I can go over these real quick. There's an overview of what those locutionary act and an illocutionary act is. Perry, do you want to know about those, or you want me to skip over?
Up to you. Whatever is your best judgment.
It's just defining utterances and stuff. So
right. Yeah.
Fuck it. We'll read it. A locutionary act is the performance of an utterance, the actual utterance and its apparent meaning, comprising any and all of its verbal, social, and rhetorical meanings, all of which correspond to the verbal, syntactic, and semantic aspects of any meaningful utterance. So that's a locutionary act, the performance of a meaningful utterance. An illocutionary act, speech act, because we're talking about speech act here, an illocutionary act is the active result of the implied request or meaning presented by the locutionary act. For example, if the locutionary act in an interaction is the question, "Is there any salt?" the implied illocutionary request is, "Please pass the salt to me," or at least, "I wish to add salt to my meal."
Okay. Locutionary when I was saying like the question, like, "Will you pass the bread?" That would be the.
I don't see any questions in here at all. It doesn't say.
I thought you said.
Oh yeah, no. I'm wrong. You were right. It says, "Is there any salt?"
Right.
Would be the locutionary act.
And then the
speech act would be "Please pass me the salt."
Right.
Or "I wish to add salt to my meal." I'm not really sure. You're asking if there's any salt, but the illocutionary request is, "Please pass the salt to me." So does that mean it's like passive? Does that mean it's like an illusion? God damn it! An illocutionary act might be. It's really abstract. It might just mean like a pleading or a pleading with someone. Like, "I wish to add salt." Instead of "Is there any salt?" "I wish to add salt to my meal" would be the illocutionary act.
The way that you read those definitions seemed like that they are hand in hand, that the illocutionary cannot be had without the locutionary, but I could be definitely wrong about that.
It's what it seems like. It seems as though The locutionary is just the performance of a meaningful utterance from the mouth, or from, you know, whatever utterance it may be. It's usually from the mouth.
Mhm.
I guess you could make an utterance by exhaling really quick through the nose.
Well, you could
or
sign
you could
it.
whistle, you know.
Couldn't you sign a locutionary act?
I guess so. I mean,
maybe it wouldn't be a speech act, though. It might be something different, perhaps.
Well, it specifically says comprising any and all of its verbal, social, and rhetorical meanings.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's specifically talking about verbal syntactics.
Makes sense.
Okay, so it says, and under certain conditions, a further perlocutionary act, the actual effect of the locutionary and illocutionary acts, such as persuading and convincing, or otherwise getting someone to do or realize something, whether intended or not.
Wow. Okay.
That's
so
perlocutionatory.
There's like this
perlocutionary. Sorry. God damn.
There's this notion of like dialogue or dialectic. First it's the locutionary, then the illocutionary, then the perlocutionary.
Yeah, there's another one too, but it seems as though that it's like synthesis, thesis, or
I was just gonna say alien.
Yeah. Yes, it does seem a bit like that. These specifics don't seem too much to matter when we're just talking about the overall idea of understanding pragmatics, and you know, because this a speech act, we can get into all there's like performative speech acts, indirect speech acts. I'm finding on Google illocutionary acts, perlocutionary acts, performative speech acts, indirect speech acts. Oh, here's some examples. Okay, let's see. You are fired expresses both the employment status of the individual in question as well as the action by which the said person's employment is ended. So that's a speech act. I hereby appoint you as chairman expresses both the status of the individual as chairman and the action which promotes the individual to this position. So somebody had to say, I hereby appoint you as chairman in a meaningful way to convey that message to the public and to the person changing positions. Does that make sense?
Yes, that definitely makes sense. Like there's some notion of authority now, which would make sense, especially when you're commanding or asking or whatever it may be.
Yeah. It seems as though, let's see. We ask that you extinguish your cigarettes at this time and bring your tray tables up and seat backs into an upright position. This statement describes the requirements of the current location, such as an airplane, while also issuing the command to stop smoking and sit up straight. So I guess that's another speech act. So maybe something that is not a speech act, I guess, would be not requiring anything of anyone. Just maybe like a random whimsical rumination, like water is blue, you know, or something like that.
It clarifies a date.
What about the date?
Yes, that would be a speech
because if
act.
you could smoke on planes, you're talking about somewhere in the mid 1980s.
Oh yeah, that's true. I don't know why they have that here like that.
At least you
that
could
is like the
sky.
That's an insanely good point to bring up, dude. I didn't even think about that. Oh my god.
Yeah, because there's something in the sentence like that gives another word.
Yeah, whoever gave these examples was an older boy.
Yeah, maybe things have changed in the past 30 years since this has been written, like the examples or whatever.
I really kind of want to try to understand this locutionary, illocutionary, and perlocutionary acts. They for some reason it bothers me. What?
You said the sky is blue. That's a descriptive statement.
Right.
So I wonder where descriptive statements fall in this.
I'm guessing not so much. I'm guessing instead of, the illocutionary act was please pass me the salt, and the locutionary act was is there any salt? Well, what if the statement was there is salt? Is that locutionary or illocutionary?
illocutionary, because I think you're now commanding it. You're making a statement rather than asking, and rather than that perlocutionary dialectic thing that you mentioned. So I would say illocutionary, if I'm remembering these terms.
Yeah, that was the one that said, please pass the salt to me, or I wish to add salt to my meal.
Yeah, so saying there is salt, that seems like a statement, that seems like a command. Descriptive, though, I mean, it's almost like we could also bring in the theoretical versus applied linguistics. This is all applied linguistics that we're talking about.
We are talking about theoretical linguistics right now.
Oh, really?
Oh, no, excuse me. No, speech acts are... My bad. Speech acts are applied linguistics, yes.
Okay, yeah. And then that's where I was thinking maybe descriptive would be perhaps more in the theoretical linguistic field.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
There is more information on theoretical linguistics. I just don't want to get too deep into it because it's a lot of fucking jargon. Just like we just went to look at speech act and we realize now that there's 4 types of speech acts, and I don't even know if there's a reason to like separate them into locutionary and illocutionary, perlocutionary and metalocutionary. You want to hear what that one is?
Yeah. I love meta.
Metalocutionary act categorizes speech acts that refer to the forms and functions of the discourse itself, rather than continuing the substantive development of the discourse or to the configurational functions and punctuation. That's a little hard to understand. I'm not going to lie to you. I'll read it again.
Yes.
A metalocutionary act categorizes speech acts that refer to the forms and functions of the discourse itself, rather than continuing the substantive development of the discourse.
Yeah, I think I understand that.
Instead of having that developmental dialectic process, there is a type of form, or maybe universal,
of the entire discourse itself. It does sound like we're talking about fucking dialectics, doesn't it?
Here's an example, just as Thomas just said there.
Yeah, what?
That's it. Just as Thomas just said there.
That would be a
that would categorize in that kind of
a meta
realm. It's a very just kind of add along kind of speech to affirm what you're saying.
Yeah,
I
see that.
That would categorize. That would fall into that category.
Yeah. So I've already confused myself enough with these things. We're going to move on from speech acts. Do you think you feel like you get it pretty well, about as well as we can, Perry?
Yeah, good call. Yeah, that was definitely helpful.
Okay, good.
Sure.
Excellent. So we know about that. So let's go back, and I won't babble too much longer because I don't even know if we have any callers. I haven't looked. Oh, and it's down to just us speakers now, all right? So I'm going to go on for a little bit longer, and we'll take a break in a second and talk. Let's take a break right now for just a second because I need a sip of milk.
You gonna floor that fucking. Yeah, like a little, like my boy, he drinks milk like fucking I did.
Oh yeah, you showed me all the milk in your fridge, dude. Holy shit, your son loves milk.
He used to drink a lot of it. Probably start drinking it his fucking self again, like fuck's sake.
I mean, milk's delicious. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's good for you.
It is good for
you. You don't have a problem with dairy. It's fucking great for you.
Tastes really good too. Yeah, if you're lactose intolerant, oh yeah, that's bad. That's the bad stuff.
I always thought that it was lactose and tolerant. Like lactose.
It's actually not. What's fuck all lactose in milk? But it whatever it does.
Are you saying there's like hardly any lactose in milk? Is that what you're saying?
I'd have to look it up again, but I remember looking it up once and going, "There's not much lactose in milk."
But I am right in saying it's lactose intolerant, right? That's the way to say it.
Yeah, that's what it is. But I'm beginning to think it might be fucking. They might need to reframe the title.
Well, some people aren't. They're not like completely intolerant. Some people are just kind of like it's a very. it's a spectrum type deal. It's not like black and white. So
I have a friend who cannot have dairy, or it will just destroy him.
I have a friend who just loves dairy, but he's a little bit intolerant, so he just deals with the pain afterward. And I respect it, honestly. I mean,
I fucking love dairy, bro.
He's lactose intolerant, but he fucking if I drink milk and eat cheese, I lose weight. That's right. If I need to lose weight, I just fucking.
Well, that's I mean, that is a silver lining, honestly. I don't know if it's the healthiest way to lose weight, and
hey, look at.
Fuck it.
But yeah, it'll clean you out most likely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what he was saying. He used to lose weight when he fucking drank. But
that's how I'm gonna lose weight.
No, intermittent fasting and
yes, sir.
Not eating a ton of shit before you go to bed.
That's what I was telling you.
I'm gonna find me a good tapeworm. What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, the South African ones are probably the best.
All right, that's where I'm going then. See you in a few weeks.
No, Thomas.
No, you don't eat any fucking salad that's been washed.
Pick it from the field yourself.
The opposite of the recommendation when you go to India. Make sure.
Why? Because the water is.
No, it just like, well, Jesus, fuck.
Have you been to India?
Let's say there are viruses or bacteria over there that your immune system hasn't come across.
Peter, have you been to India in your tours?
Yeah, we did a tour of India.
Oh my God, that's awesome. How was it?
With Indian musicians. It was great. A great thing for me was the fact that I was working with
Did a lot of people speak English? Did a lot of people speak English, Peter?
English is they all speak English to a degree.
Okay. English
is one of the, let's say, languages of India.
Okay.
One of the main languages, and it's been
Hindi was 698 million. So yeah.
They're over 1 billion now.
Yeah, I guess they all don't. Probably English and Hindi, I bet.
But they hit 1 billion back when I was in India.
The population, you're saying?
Yeah. Not the entire population doesn't speak Hindi. Obviously, a lot of them speak English because.
A lot of them speak up to 16 different languages.
Yes, that is
correct.
Yeah. That is correct.
Sure.
It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And they call it the subcontinent, of course. Yeah, we did I'll send you some of the stuff. It was like a mixture of jazz, Indian, classical, and Irish music.
That sounds fucking amazing. Yes, send it to me. Please send it to me. Well, let's go around the room, see what everybody's thinking.
I need to get your email address on me. PM it to me.
I will give you my email address. I will.
I'll send you a link to a video that's. I had it on VCR. It gave us 2 hours on RTE on the main television channel. 2 hours of us in India.
Oops.
I hear you, Peter. Let's go around the room and see who's with us still. Scott, you still with us? No, Scott. All right, Scott's gone. Perry's still with us, but he's loud. Nivik, you still here, buddy?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Word. Hohenheim, what you doing? I see you commenting in the box.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah. What's up?
Yeah, 1.4 billion. Yeah, I'm still here. Sorry.
No, it's all right. I was just making sure you didn't want to be a part of the conversation.
No, I'm listening, hanging out, washing.
1.4?
Nice. Yeah, he said 1.4 billion, yeah.
India?
Yeah.
Wow, that didn't take long. Then again, it's been a few decades, actually.
Yeah, it didn't take long. 500 million almost. Absolutely. When were you there? That's a 50. When were you? How long ago were you?
2001, maybe 2000.
Shit.
That's a big
That
increase.
didn't take long at all. That's 50%, almost 50% of the population.
Fuck
That means in another 2 years that could happen again.
Fucking like fuck. That's the God's honest truth. I don't even believe in the cunt.
That's the God's honest truth, Peter. You better, or I'm coming to get you. I'm watching. I'm making a list and checking it twice.
I'll be by the time you get here.
Okay.
Probably. But it looks things, I'll probably be back to Christianity by the time you get here. You better change that.
What?
Come over for a holiday in Ireland.
Perry, you with us still? Or are you in a noisy area?
No, I was unwrapping a perk for my bong that I just bought, and I'm going to try it out, and I am super excited.
That sounds excellent.
Right, check it.
What's up? What was that, Peter?
Get it done.
He said, what is it in, a straight jacket?
Oh, yeah, it was in some bubble wrap. Yeah, literally, it wasn't a straight jacket, so I thought it was muted, and I was probably making hella noise.
No, you're fine right now. We can't hear anything.
You were muted anyway. You're good.
So, do I fill up the perk just a little, like a quarter of the way, probably?
Get a fucking knife, dude.
No. It's already. I already got it open. But you know
He's
what
talking
I'm
about
talking
the
about?
percolator, Peter.
Yeah. So it's like, here, let me show you.
Peter.
So see that? Do I fill it up to? Like I fill it up to probably right here ish. Would you say?
You looking, Peter? Do you see it?
It's a heat job.
Yeah. It lessens the heat pretty much and makes it a cooler head.
Is it a vaporizer?
No,
it's
just a bong. It's just a glass piece that you attach to the bong as well.
What's the green? What I'm looking at.
He said, what's the green that he's looking at?
Oh, what's the green? It's just the color of the glass that's in it. So
that's around it.
Yeah, those are what are called percolators.
I honestly don't
and they
do
make
bongs. I think the way I think is, don't waste your fucking weed at an alarming rate. That's why
that's why I use this bong, because it conserves weed so much. Like,
yeah, there you go.
Smoking joints and blunts, like, just waste.
Oh, it's a waste.
It really is. It should be a sin to smoke a big blunt because a third of it's going just straight into the air. You know what I mean?
But you like that.
I like this.
You like the pipe?
The pipe is fine too, because you could put just a little bit in and just do one hit.
The pipe is fucking. That's why I do.
Yeah,
pipe job.
It's pretty much.
It's just.
My pipe is plastic.
Wow, what the fucking
is it?
shit?
It's a rubber pipe.
Oh yeah, those are good.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I need.
The glass bowl pops out. I can just pop the glass bowl out and then clean it, and then put the glass bowl right back in it. It's cool as shit. It's very easy to clean too. Very easy. That was Borat. I was not trying to make fun of you, Peter. Sorry, that was Borat impersonation.
That's so fucking Irish racist. I'm never gonna sleep again.
Oh my god. No.
I'm trying to turn on my camera here, but it's
Yeah, turn your camera on.
I have it turned on.
What's wrong here? I can see Perry's screen, but I can't see you.
It could be Oh wait. Allow.
Aha, yes.
I've got this little thing.
Oh, that's a micro hitter. That's
I've got a bigger one in my pocket. It's actually in probably 1,000 pieces now.
Wait, let me see it. Let me see it, Peter.
Show it to him again, Peter.
Oh yeah, those are nice. This is
all metal.
I've got this other one in my pocket, and it's
Oh yeah,
definitely all there in some set.
I've got this one hitter that's also rubber. It's a one hitter. It's really
this
nice.
This camera on Colin so much. I feel like, you know what I mean.
What's wrong with the camera?
It like zooms in.
Yeah, like
so much compared to like FaceTime. Or just,
yeah,
like right up
for some
to
reason. It's all good. Nobody cares. If people are going to listen to this in the future for education, then they're not going to give it. They're just going to be trying to figure out what we're talking about, like we are. Kitty cat.
Right.
Hello, kitty cat.
Oh, fucking mighty.
All right. While y'all are packing that bowl, let me go read off.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Let's go read off so let's let's talk about the little groupings of theoretical linguistics, okay? So there's generative linguistics, which is called generativism. It's a linguistic theory that regards linguistics as the study of a hypothesized innate grammatical structure. So we know that, talking like, Chomsky, that kind of stuff, right?
Yep, exactly. Innate, intrinsic, those kind of words that I hate.
That was the main word there that I saw, innate grammatical structure. So like a universal grammar or like a biologically programmed grammar, right? So generative grammar is generative linguistics is a biological or biolinguistic modification of earlier structuralist theories of linguistics, deriving ultimately from glossomatics. So it was a structuralist theory. Okay, cool. So generative linguistics is a structuralist theory. So now generative grammar considers grammar as a system of rules that generates exactly those combinations of words that form grammatical sentences in a given language. Okay, it is a system of explicit rules that may apply repeatedly to generate an indefinite number of sentences, which can be as long as one wants them to be. The difference from structural and functional models is that the object is base generated within the verb phrase. Oh, that's getting a little too deep. I'm not going to go that far, guys. So you get the idea of what generative, let's see, blah, 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 blah. I have copied and pasted a lot of stuff and paraphrased and retyped and all kinds of stuff, and I'm just searching through my pages.
I hate that. It's so hard to like keep track, especially when we go on these.
It's just how I take fucking notes. You know what I mean?
Well, and you never know how the conversation's going to go because you want there to be a good tangent and a good conversation. You can't just be dogmatic in your own notes and just go step by step sometimes.
That's right. All right. That's why I changed it to this format where we can go in and out of tangents when we want to, because if somebody's going to listen back to this, they're going to also hear us interacting with each other and the social psychology of that and the linguistics of us interacting with each other while we're talking about linguistics. So it's kind of apropos. You know what I mean?
I love that. I absolutely love that. Yep. Yeah.
So generative linguists have created numerous theories to make the NP-VP analysis work in natural language description. That is, the subject and the verb phrase appearing as independent constituents and the object placed within the verb phrase. So it's just a form of theoretical linguistics that deals with like how syntax are put together. There's a lot to this, guys. I don't know if we want to cover, maybe I can do an episode on generative grammar, but it doesn't necessarily seem to be of any practical use to us. So if you want to study more about generative linguistics, please go do so. I'm just checking the Wikipedia page now, and it's only about a couple of essays long. So actually probably about one essay long. So just go read it, go familiarize yourself with it if you love linguistics. If not, skip it. All right. So did you want to say anything, Perry?
No. So is generative part of the theoretical linguistic field?
Yes. Yes.
Gotcha.
It's an approach which seeks to ground grammar in a specialized language module.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I am more of the pragmatic type, and I mean, Chomsky would
I love you
say
for it too.
Chomsky would be interested in this theoretical, intrinsic, innate part of language.
Universal grammar.
Universals, and
That's what he called it.
I mean, I'm fine with working on what we have from history. I don't feel the need to theoretically come up with a whole new set of linguistics. I'm fine with what we got. I'm fine with knowing the history of our theoretical linguistics and how now it is the applied part of the whole thing. So you're right. I mean, I would just advise people, like you already have, to go on the Wikipedia page, and if you want to delve more into this a priori
Go search
theoretical,
the internet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what I'm doing mostly
whatever.
through this, what I'm doing through the show is I'm going through my notes that I've taken from Wikipedia and Stanford and all over the place, and then I'm also Google searching all this stuff. As soon as Perry's asking me a question, I'm Google searching it. That's how we learn. You know, that's how we all should learn, especially when we're in the dialectic. We have the tool of the internet today. We want to use that when we're in conversation so we can learn more and more and more. It's just, it's very necessary. I know people like free-form conversation, but when we're studying and stuff, it's almost necessary to have the internet with you. You know what I mean? To have Google with you. So if you didn't have anything to say about that, I'll go on to the next type of theoretical linguistic.
Yep, I'm ready to transition.
Okay. Did anybody else want to say anything? Nivik, Honenheim? Either of you guys have anything to say? Honenheim? He's probably busy. All right. Let us go back to formalism. Okay? So formalism in linguistics is the theory of language as a formal. It's looking at the theory of language as a formal system with mathematical logical rules and a formal grammar structure. And we talked about grammar before: syntax, semantics, morphemes, phonology, all that stuff, right? So formalism is looking at linguistics from a mathematical modeling and from a logical reasoning standpoint, like logical deductive reasoning. So it's used in a variety of ways to relate to formal linguistics, but in common usage, it is merely synonymous with a syntactic model. So like a method for analyzing sentence structures. That's what formalism is. Such formalisms include different methodologies of generative grammar, which are especially designed to produce grammatically correct strings of words, or the likes of functional discourse grammar, which builds on predicate logic. So they're using predicate logic, they're using intuitionistic logic, they're using modal logic to analyze the structure of grammar and analyze all these syntax and semantics issues in a formal mathematical way. That's what formalism is in linguistics, and that's why it's a theoretical doctrine, because it's within theoretical linguistics. It's not applied. You know, it's not something pragmatic. Does that make sense, Barry?
Yeah. And I'm glad that it is agreed upon that it is theoretical rather than applied, because who is to say that formal mathematical ways of looking at language is the right way of looking at linguistics?
Correct.
It definitely is probably a very helpful and maybe one of the best ways that we have, but I guess that's first thing that I think of. Formalism is what you called it, right? What was that, Peter?
Says it doesn't necessarily communicate after a certain point.
That's true. No, I see what you mean, but say it. Go a little bit deeper, Peter.
Well, if somebody's trying to, explain something, it might not be a mathematical perspective may not be the best way of going about
like feelings,
it. I mean,
you
may have
feelings.
to say it from a metaphorical point of view, or
right. Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So when they study language like this,
you know, it can be a complex.
I agree with you completely. When we study academically the study of formalism in linguistics, we're just talking about like a syntactic model. You know what I mean? It's just looking at things mathematically in language. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's the way we should look at language. If you were to talk
I'm saying how I communicate with you isn't the same as I'm going to communicate with somebody else. I would learn to communicate with you, or I would learn to communicate with other friends I have, or people that I know that I've communicated with for a while. And you'd have a different style for nearly every person
you're right.
You deal with, you know.
You're right.
And, yes,
we don't all speak the same. I mean,
the mathematics are involved.
You have a different lexicon. I have a different lexicon. Travis has a different lexicon. Perry has, but they're so close enough because we've all agreed on what is academic and rigorous and scientific that we can all communicate easily because we understand, you know, like I can talk to Peter about the four forces of nature. Well, I was just saying I can talk to Peter about the four fundamental forces of nature. And I don't have to explain what electromagnetism is to Peter. You know what I mean? So these things it's like implied, unsaid things that we just know through linguistics in application. Would you agree with that?
If it's a certain subject matter, yeah. But I think we still have to. If you're talking about those mathematics, I think in a broader sense, yes, there has to be a middle ground somewhere. You're basing stuff off medians and mediums.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, yes. When you're talking to someone you don't know,
yes,
you have a neutral. You have to have as much of a neutral kind of a.
Well, I have innocent until proven guilty. That's my easiest way to go about it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Kind of cutting through the middle. You basically start off as how normal can I be?
Like, I wanna say something about that.
Because you don't ask a fucking wacky question. Anyway, go on, Harry.
I don't know if it's just me being high that I get unnecessarily philosophical, but what that reminded me of is Hegel when Peter said that there's some mediating that is in between you and a person that you just met, for example, and that's what
the first trifecta, right? Or the first.
Well, Hegel thought that the Geist, this whole process, whatever, existed ontologically in between two people within a dialectic. And that was the mediating, this abstract yet ontological substrate of the Geist is in between two people mediating, and that's how you can get to know, well, absolute knowledge is the goal, but any form of knowledge, obviously, you know, just whatever knowledge.
Yeah, and you start to push things a little, you know.
Hegel's very different interpretation, Peter, of like what we're talking about.
Okay.
He's like a very continental idealist philosopher. You know Hegel, don't you?
Look at him.
Look him up and have fun.
He's very difficult to interpret and read philosopher. It's better to just go watch a video on him.
I'll show you what I have. Be back in a minute.
Okay. No, it does sound like the dialectic, at least how you described it the other day. You didn't call them trifectas. What did you call them? The first tier?
Triad? Well, yeah, I guess I was just
triads. You call them triads within the tier.
Triads. Yeah.
No, that's the easiest way for me to understand it because it puts it into a hierarchy with holons. And you said the first level, do you remember them? What are they?
Well, sense certainty is the beginning of the first level. I forget what arbitrary English word this guy used or whomever. Hegel had it chaptered. He had chapters within his phenomenology of spirit. The first step, I don't know what the first triad was, but the first step is sense certainty, where you have the impression, as Hume would say, and after the sense certainty, then is when we get to, I'm forgetting what the next two were, but then there's self-certainty, which is then the first step of the second triad.
Right.
And that's when people become conscious, and that's when things start to get good within the whole
This
process.
is like how everything starts from the very base up of any interaction, or even if you're interacting with the human consciousness itself, the Geist itself, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure I understood that. Yeah, sense certainty, yes. So we can talk more about formalism in linguistics maybe on another episode, but it's basically just structuring things to make a syntactic model, to make a mathematical structure to formal linguistics. That's what it is. Go look it up. You need to read it. All right. We only have a couple of other fields of theoretical linguistics we can cover, and then I'll probably shut the hell up and we can talk about whatever. Of course, this is generating good conversation. I may as well keep going.
I mean, is there anything else on theoretical that you feel is worth?
Well, there's quantitative linguistics, which is the study of quantitative language laws and corresponding general theories. So it's a sub-discipline of general linguistics, more specifically of mathematical linguistics, of which we've been talking. Quantitative linguistics deals with language learning, language change, and the application as well as structure of natural languages. So quantitative linguistics investigates language using statistical methods. Its most demanding objective is the formulation of language laws and ultimately of a general theory of language in the sense of a set of interrelated language laws. So we will, in the future, guys, get into what the theory of language is and what the philosophy of language is, because that is a part of linguistics, but we have to cover all the base overarching meta stuff before we get to the specifics of language itself. So, well, that's what we're studying anyway. Linguistics is the scientific study of language. So it's not, the science of language is linguistics. The philosophy of language is the philosophy of language. So, so that's what quantitative linguistics is. It's not too important to go into any further. I tell everybody to go look up formalism, quantitative linguistics. Go familiarize yourself with these theoretical linguistics categories. There's another one called functional linguistics, which is language as used and coming from use. Sorry, Nivet.
Is it in this?
Oh, Peter. That was Peter. I'm sorry. What's up, Peter?
Is it in this?
What are you talking about? What?
Encyclopedia? It's funny because Hegel actually wrote his own encyclopedia. That was one of his last works. Is that what you're holding?
A lot of fucking stuff in here now.
Yeah.
Have you read all those, Peter? Don't lie.
No, I haven't read any of them because I said to my father. My father was studying. He was doing philosophy.
Yeah.
When he was doing a degree in theology.
Oh,
so
your father was a theologian.
I sent him. I was living in the U.S., so I sent him those. The whole fucking.
Peter, was your father a professional theologian? Did he go to school for that?
Well, he served on many boards. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he did it later in life.
So he is a theist then.
Well, he would have been a theist. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting.
I'll tell you a story about my father.
Go ahead. Tell us the story.
I mean, he was shit spelling, but he was good at some stuff. He was very meticulous, incredibly meticulous. But he had a weird way of thinking. But he kind of brought up my cousins. Their mother died, and their father left them for another family. So my grandmother had to basically bring up 4 fucking other boys after bringing up a family, and my father was frequently over there sorting shit out. But they went to a technical school, which was more of like plumbing, how to fucking learn more woodwork and fucking metalwork and all that shit. Anyway, my cousin was at the school. It's the eldest of the cousins there, and he had a math problem. And he asked my father, could he help him with the math problem because he couldn't figure it out. So my father, mapped out the sum. So this is what you do. You do this, 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 and this, this, this. Basically, did the fucking calculation for him. And he brought it in to the fucking teacher the next day. And the teacher said, "You, with a maths degree, you can't fucking... You get that answer from doing that. Like, you cheat." So he accused him of fucking cheating. He told him he fucking...
So because he came to the answer a different way, the teacher said he cheated.
The teacher said he cheated. And my father, he told my father of this, so. And, well, that was fucking livid. So, he said, when's the maths class start? And he said, he gave him the time. My dad walked into the school, into the classroom, did the sum on the board before the fucking class came in. And when the teacher came in, he explained to him how he did the maths.
All the way through.
That's how we got the answer.
Yeah.
There
are many different ways.
That's a weird fucking... He didn't have a degree in maths or anything, like.
Yeah.
Well, he did some remarkable stuff, like with a computer company, and after that, he made this. They were making circuit boards for fucking all sorts of fucking barcodes and stuff like that, and he made their barcodes like 15% more efficient. This is worldwide. It's a company called Selectron.
Yeah.
And they invited all their experts from the States to come over and hear my dad fucking explain how he'd reconfigured a fucking circuit board. And he only started this shit in his 50s. He went for a
Sounds like a really smart guy, dude.
He went for a stores job. He says, I'm pissed off doing taxi work. I just want to go for a store, And he says, do you mind doing an aptitude test? So he did an aptitude test, and then suddenly he was on a fucking 3-year course to fucking do stuff like soldering and doing circuit boards and all that shit.
Yeah.
But he had this kind of a real fucking, nah, that's shit. Let's do it this way. He just fucking let's just rewire this for a second. See what happens.
If you get to the right answer, sometimes it doesn't matter how you got there. Sometimes it does.
I don't even know how he got there. This is the fucking weird shit. Like, I don't know what the process was.
Some people think very differently, bro.
An actual feeling.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It wasn't even
don't you think that some people think just wildly differently than us? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He may have been one of those people that could just think way outside the box and come to answers that us coming straight at the problem can't solve.
This is the fucking weird thing about it. Like, he always had that kind of talent with fucking putting shit together, like, It never got fucking... He didn't grow up in a generation that promoted anything like that kind of talent,
I think it's good. I think it's good to celebrate your dad and what was good about him. That's what I think.
Well, he only died there in September, so I'm sorry if I took up any time.
No,
linguistics.
No, I love you, Peter. You can talk as much as you want. You're always welcome to talk. I've pretty much covered most of what I need to on because there's not. Let's see, how long have I been going for? We've tangented a lot, but it's been about 2 hours. We can cover like historical linguistics, and we'll probably do the semantics episode next, and then I'll go into like what etymology is and what sociolinguistics is, and we'll go into some descriptive linguistics and applied linguistics and psycholinguistics. We'll save that for next time, guys. So if we run out of something to talk about, I'll go over it again, but as of right now, let's just hang out and talk.
We can move to
So
Discord.
we could, but I'm gonna keep it on the show just in case I have any other thing to cover.
Yeah,
I mean, we've got Brett up here, we've got Hohenheim, we've got Nivik, we've got Perry. Scott's probably gone, but anybody chime in? What's going on with you,
Dude? You treat me like fucking raw liver over here, buddy.
bro? I thought you were gone. You ain't said shit. You ain't said shit.
I've just been soaking it in. Nobody brought me in.
Bring yourself in, you
actually
lazy
did.
cunt.
I actually did earlier. I asked you I gave you a good like 30 seconds. I was like, Scott, what do you think about this? Scott, and then you weren't there.
I did go make myself a sandwich earlier. Yeah.
I see. That's okay. Now we're just in free for all mode. What's going on? How you feeling?
Dude, the ham be calling my name. A little bit of ham.
The ham. The ham zone.
Is calling my name.
I had a ham sandwich yesterday. It's pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty damn good, if I don't say so myself.
Dude, my sister got me a sous vide setup for Christmas. I'm fucking stoked.
The hell is that?
That's where you do you cook stuff in a bag in water. So you vacuum seal a bag and you cook it in water to like a specific temperature, and then you yank it out and then you fucking sear it real quick. So you just sear it on really high heat, you get a charcoal on it, but it comes out perfect. It's a fucking cheese.
Brett, are you with us? Brett, are you there?
Yeah, dude.
What's up, brother man?
Not much.
Nothing, man. We're in the free-for-all mode now. I'm sorry, there's a little delay.
It's about to get freaky. He's like, school's out for fucking summer right now, buddy.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, I don't know what it is, but in winter, like, it's the days are so long, and it feels like there's just a lot draining. So, yeah, it's been a week.
What grade do you teach? What grade do you teach?
12th grade.
You're cutting out just a little bit, Brett. We can still hear most of what you're saying.
It's like a bunch of 18-year-old twats, basically.
Yeah.
18-year-old twats.
The Wi-Fi, maybe that'll help.
Yeah, I don't mean like female.
There we go.
Twats, just like 18-year-old fucking dickheads.
Cunts in general.
Yeah.
General cunts.
It's it's just like winter's just brutal.
Like, yeah, we can hear you much better now, Brett.
I don't know how to explain it. Okay, cool.
What was that, Scott?
I said winter is coming. That's true.
Winter is coming.
Hodor.
I would say winter is upon us.
I know fuck all about Game of Thrones, bro.
Hold the door.
Hold the door. Hold the
God,
door.
Dude, that was so sad. I literally cried during that scene.
It was fucking brutal, dude. Brutal. And then you realize what happened is like fucking he went back in time to fucking do that to himself. Like, oh, man, dude. It's wacky.
Yeah.
Paradoxes.
So you guys are just free-forming now? No particular topic?
Yep.
I may go into some other stuff, but right now we're just chilling.
Cool.
I've been talking about theoretical linguistics and pragmatic linguistics for about an hour and a half.
Nice.
Me and Perry had some good discourse about it, and Shane and Peter were there too, and Nivik was there for a while. I don't know if he's still here with us, and Hohenheim's been mostly absent, but we've had it's been a good show. We've been having fun.
Nice.
You got any things on your mind you want to talk about? I don't care where you take it.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, I don't know, I was rewatching Jordan Peterson and Matt Dillahunty, the debate.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of realizing that, because Matt had commented on it in the video he did following the debate to talk about, like,
Yep,
you know,
I
how
watched
it went.
it.
Yeah, and I feel like he made a really good point that a lot of times people don't agree on the definitions of words / like they have different concepts of, you know, a given
Yep.
whatever idea a word comes up with, it'll look different in everybody's mind. And so for some they're like, okay, what is, you know, a factual piece of evidence? Well, you know, literally if you like put a cup in your hand full of water and you drop it, you know, almost every time in this universe it's going to hit the ground, and more than likely it's going to spill, right? Like statistically it's not going to land, you know, right side up with all the water still in it.
Yeah, no, it might, but it's very
very
statistically unlikely. Yeah.
Whereas like it's a fact that I you know, I had a mystical experience the other night, and it's like, well, you might think you did, but it might have been the shrooms. So.
A mystical experience can be inside one's mind. It can be real inside your mind to you. That doesn't necessarily mean it's an objective thing, right?
Yeah, totally.
So like all of my hallucinogenic experiences are real to me. They matter to me. They impact my life. So I mean that's real as much as I can define as real. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. But I had gone down that rabbit hole. Like I think that is a real problem we're not just having, you know, we have on our, you know, our shows discussing stuff and whatnot, but, you know, humans are having in general right now. We don't agree on terms. We don't agree on the most basic elements of, you know, of even with like science and medicine at times. And also, you know, our motives, you know, for why we believe what we believe. It's really hard to get out of those when you're trying to, you know, have an open-ended conversation that can bring a lot of people into the fold, I think.
The semantics are so important, and it always means, because so many people misinterpret like your semantics of what you were just saying, or mine right now in describing your semantics, right?
Yeah.
It can get really meta when we talk about semantics and the meanings between two people conversing.
Yeah, which is why I think intention is really significant.
Yeah, that's what pragmatics was talking about, what we were getting into earlier.
Yeah, intention or what?
Intention, yes, intention over what is said. Yeah,
provided it's interpreted correctly.
Yeah,
that would be the semantics agreement. Yeah. Go ahead, Scott.
It seems to be rough because intention is always implied, right? Like I can only imply your intention.
Yeah, intention's always going to be there, Scott. But what I was saying is like the speech act, the sentence itself has no meaning until we give it pragmatic significance, or we give it semantic meaning. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Let me see if I can find an easier way to explain this.
No, that makes total sense.
Okay.
Because I read it a second ago. Words you use in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gobbledygook.
Or the expression behind it. How you express it can be very...
Real quick. So the areas of interest that pragmaticians, the pragmatic linguists study, are the study of the speaker's meaning, focusing not on the phonetic or grammatical form of the utterance, but on what the speaker's intentions and beliefs are about the utterance.
Yes.
So that's pragmatics.
It can be very
But even understanding their intention and their intentions and their meaning, using some sort of language, nonverbal language, something along those lines, to whether you decide this person is lying.
You're very low.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Scott.
I'm saying like so even in that kind of situation, if it's whether the intention of that person or how trustworthy they are, they're still using language. And some language people use that makes you feel comfortable. It says
we're still relying on the rules of language, but we can manipulate them very extensively. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then it becomes something that is displaced. It's not representing reality. It's representing a product.
When you're trying to hide something, or whether you're trying to hide something.
Mm-hmm.
Different types of hiding as well.
Yeah.
Or just try to dampen something down.
Surreptitiousness.
Yeah.
Being surreptitious in your linguistics.
Like Thomas is a cunt.
Yes. Thomas is a cunt.
No, he's one of these cunts. No,
but see, what do we mean by cunt? What is the linguistic semantics of cunt? Do we mean cool guy? I could be like, hey, Peter, you're a cunt. That could mean that you're a really cool guy.
Yeah, well, in Australia, they have the determination between a good cunt and a bad cunt.
In fact, it actually does. You will often hear Irish musicians talking about other musicians, regardless of the genre, referring to somebody else as a cunt. And they're a cunt because they're amazing. Oh, he's a cunt.
See, like all of us in this.
You're just like, if you're in the really good musician bracket, like, other people will refer to you with other people that you're a cunt. They never call you a cunt, but they will say he's a cunt.
Well, like in context of friendship, cunt means a completely different thing than if you were angry at them, right?
Oh yeah, I think it's nearly a way of softening the fact that cunt could have, like, say, less, desirable consequences.
A negative context, you mean?
Yeah, but more of an angular thing.
Oh, like an actual consequence.
No. Stop. No, not an actual consequence. But you know what I mean? Like, it's well, maybe in somebody's head, yes.
Let's we got Kapow who joined us. Let's see what Kapow's got going on. What you got going on, Kapow?
Cunt. Cunt is when you're feeling very feminine. You're feeling yourself. You got your diamonds. You're feeling very snatched. This hella cunt.
Is that with your cunt?
No.
Is it a state of being?
I'm not talking about vajazzling. I'm talking about, like, if you're in like full on drag, or you're a performer and you're serving feminine and you're doing it really well, then they say that's really cunt. And it's a good
I knew
that's great. I didn't know that.
It has to end there, doesn't it?
I got called a cunt yesterday. Was it yesterday? Day before yesterday? By Tay the motherfucking muffin. I hope he comes in here.
Yeah, I'm really sorry that happened. By the way, no, you're fine. I
That's all right.
Like to talk
I get to make it a
why
joke
do you
now.
think that happened? We don't have to talk about the person specifically without saying names. But why do you think that happened?
Oh no, I don't want to talk about it. It was really annoying and kind of weird. And,
yeah,
and I was
I'm sorry about that.
Ow, mom there.
I don't mind.
and Frankus.
I thought it's funny. I keep going listening to him chat because he's interested. I like the guy, so. But yeah, he obviously didn't like me, so.
Well,
doesn't matter.
Good luck to you. You know, I'm your friend and always will be. So you got people to come back to. But if you gotta float around and be around people who are like that, I understand.
That's definitely a
all right. No. You were all offline, so that's the only place to go. Discord. Pangolin is closed. I have an awesome pitch I'd love to share with you. I don't know what you.
Can you put it in the chat?
Probably not.
Or come on camera and show us.
Hey, let's move over.
Yeah. Give it Peter.
Discord. What?
Oh.
I fuck all this to say.
It's just an idea.
He was just listening.
It's a AR.
Pop up. I mean, it's 4:20 now, and I'm getting drunker and drunker.
Actually, I just thought of something. They also say fishy, like you're a real fishy vagina, like a real tilapia. That's another way of saying someone is looking really feminine and looking very cunt.
Little fucking fish.
Peter, you're great. Let's see. Perry, you back with us? Parents, young Perry? Are you still charging your phone? He's still charging his phone. Brett, what's on your mind?
I was just letting you guys go a little bit there.
We were just flying between topics.
We're just getting lazy, man.
To Peter, it's like the 11th hour. You know what I mean? It's almost pass out time.
Yeah, it's like
look at him squinting. Look at him squinting there.
Have you
he's squinting hard?
Right now, Peter
squinting there, Tito.
Right now, Peter, it's the 13th hour. He's past that point.
When does a language move past just being a dialect of a language, like? Because into a different language, can it use like the same words like that? Like, I mean, there's like other subcultures like that where it really would be difficult to understand what someone is saying, even though they're using English words, but they're not really using them in any similar way that they're used anywhere else.
So dialects
magic
are
mix.
hang on, Peter, real quick. Peter, hang on. Language. What you're talking about falls under language varieties and contact varieties, like a dialect. And so a dialect is just a variety of language that is characteristic of a particular group among the language's speakers. The group of people who are the speakers of a dialect are usually bound to each other by social identity. This is what differentiates a dialect from a register or a discourse, where in the latter case, the discourse, cultural identities does not always play a role. Dialects are speech varieties that have their own grammatical and phonological rules, features, and stylistic aspects, but have not been given an official status as a language. Kind of like how we were talking about earlier, like how Northerners will say "ka" instead of "car." You know what I mean? Get in the car. You know what I mean? Like that's a dialect within a language, but you don't really have any dialectical languages or anything like that. That's not really any terms that I've run across. Dialect is just a form of languages, a way that language can morph, but still be the same language. Like, even though I don't say ka, I say car, we still mean the same thing. It's still English, but the intonation and the register is different. You know, how nasally it is or any of that.
I understand.
Do you think it might be appropriate, like, for like black people in black culture, they say you speak white, and when they say that, they mean something specifically, right? So,
well, and that's why I was bringing that up too, because in gay drag culture, they have their own way of speaking as well. That's not. It's just different. Where I don't think that you could really you wouldn't be able to understand how the people are using the words.
Yeah,
you know.
You're a little hot on the mic, Capel.
To me, it just seems like it's an offshoot of like some more primal language, right? So all dialects fall within like a certain general language, but then you have dialects within that language of how people use terms, right?
Yep. And you could be in the same country, have the same language like English, and have different lexicons too. That's the crazy part. Like you can have different dialect and a different lexicon, because everyone has their own lexicon. It's the fact that they're all so close that we can communicate, at least within like the English. You know, like if I go up and start talking to somebody about formalized linguistics that just works at like a factory or something, then their lexicon is not going to attach to that. My lexicon wouldn't attach to them telling me about their machine they run. You know what I mean? Because I don't know the terminology. So everyone has a different lexicon that they use to understand the world and understand semantics and meaning. But there can be different dialects, different lexicons within those dialects.
Yep. Jargon. Where does jargon come into that whole?
Isn't that specific to like a field or like a specific
let's look up the word
job
jargon
or something?
So jargon's huge, you know, like people.
Jargon just means professional terms, pretty much. So, Peter, you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you still alive, Peter?
I'm talking to myself. I'm just narrating. Full fucking on.
That got me. Did that explore that idea enough for you, Kapow, or did you want to go further?
Oh, I always want to go further.
Always go further.
But that's good for now.
Okay. Well, let's go around the room again, see what everybody's doing. Perry, are you back? Perry. Okay, I haven't talked to Nivik in forever. Nivik, are you here, buddy? Are you with us? Nivnov? Nivekian? No? Okay. I'm sad now. Scott, you're still with us, aren't you?
Discord.
I am.
I figured you were. What time you got to get up in the morning, Scott?
I've got to go to the hospital around like 10, so I've got many hours.
Oh, you got some time. Yeah, you got some time.
So one of the things that always gets me about linguistics is like the fundamental root language, right? Because we know there's a root language between Chinese, Latin, there's a root language. And that's what I find interesting.
Hang on, Peter. Let him get it out. 1 sec.
Well, this has actually been shown to be true, just because they actually look at not the words being used, but the pronunciation, the sounds, like the ku, cha, cha, chu, cha.
Yeah, the phonemes. Those are the phonemes. Yeah.
So they're all the same everywhere. So we know language all sort of came from a certain group of people at a certain time, and then it exploded across the planet.
Vocal cords and smacking lips together. That's pretty much all language right there.
Yep.
Just different vocal patterns and smacking lips and tongue to the top of your teeth and roof of your mouth. That's the utterances that we make that are made up of phonemes that are, like we talked about, that make up the syntactic structure of a sentence. And then that sentence is an abstract thing that we give meaning to, which is the semantics, and it all builds from there.
Absolutely. It's like, when was
crazy to think about it that way?
The first human being buried with like sacraments? Is that like 40,000 BC?
40,000 BC? I mean, I don't know.
Maybe even further back than that.
I mean, let's just say we've been around for 200,000 years. You think we were having those kind of things? Have we found anything that old?
I think so. I know there's like those certain caves in, I believe they're France, where there's like drawings on them, and they can date those like 30,000 BC, something like that.
Oh, I don't doubt that. Yeah, they can probably carbon date or however the radiometric dating or whatever they use to date the stuff that they drew on the wall with, but still 40,000 years ago, evidence of some kind of like burial tomb that had some kind of hieroglyphics or something on it, people would jizz them pants over that.
Well,
no, so
just for the record,
50,000
Ireland
years ago.
is a
Peter, one sec. Peter, 1 second, and then I swear to God, I'll let you speak. Scott, finish that thought, and then we're going to Peter.
Yeah, so science have debated for years just when early human beings began singing with flowers. In the 1970s, researchers excavated the 50,000-year-old grave of the Neanderthal buried with Shandiar Cave in northern Iraq, found with evidence that it had been festooned with flowers.
Holy fuck.
50,000 years ago.
Is that the oldest one that we know of?
I think that's the oldest one we know of, but like for us to have evidence, that had to be taking place all over the place, right? It's not like time that we just happened to have found.
Yeah, the one time that they did it, we happened to catch it. Yeah, no, it's not that. Peter, what did you want to say about that?
Well, you know that you know that we're not derived from Neanderthals, right?
Yeah, we're separate. We
have a separate lineage.
Branches off.
But there is
shit.
a lot.
What was I going to fucking say?
There actually is a lot of evidence that we've interbreeded with Neanderthals, so we could say we are divided. There's a decent amount of evidence there.
Sorry.
What do you think, Peter?
Sorry, I'm fucking I'm gonna mute for a little bit.
Okay. We love you, man.
Regain my fucking thought.
We love you.
A bunch.
Scott, what are you saying?
Oh, I was just saying there's evidence that human beings have
burial rights.
With interbred with Neanderthals. So like
I thought you were talking about the burial rights still.
No, yeah, Neanderthals and humans grew at the same time, but there's interbreeding between the both of them.
Yeah,
the brain size is the same.
There you go.
Apparently, they spoke in a way higher pitch than we do.
They spoke like this. Can you imagine?
You're all like little fucking girls,
like Mickey Mouse. Oh.
Where are all the chicks at, bitch? Let's go get some pussy.
Somebody did an examination of their vocal cords and what they would sit into.
Yeah.
You know.
What is the semantics? What is the semantics of when I say, "Yay, pussy"?
I just
I can get along with that. What?
Yay!
Yeah, pussy. Yeah, okay. What? Fuck. Hey, I'm a respectable.
Not yay.
Thing.
Not yay.
But you know,
nay to pussy. I say, nay.
What? Really? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, you're kind of going. Yeah.
Sorry, Scott. You're getting petered.
Scott away.
I was just saying, what if it was a foot-long greasy cock?
Ooh, now we're talking. Now we're talking. As long as it's a clean, as long as it's a clean greasy cock. How's that sound?
Yeah.
We gotta add the clean part in here. I'm not.
6.5 inches.
Yeah, the grease could
about as much as I reckon.
I mean, imagine a girl riding horses all day. Would you just want to like have sex with her or eat her out after that?
Ooh, I'd have sex with her. I don't know about eat her out though.
Same thing with like an unclean dick to me. That's just gross. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Get some fucking butter lotion on that bitch, motherfucker.
Yeah, go wash yourself, goddammit. Use some bar soap. Come on, killing me here. Clean yourself, and you'll get a good paycheck.
How many times does that happen to you? Some dude's like getting ready, and he just like you're getting ready to go down, and he's just like a fucking like swamp fucking.
They're gonna prostitute in fucking Southeast Asia. Like they just get your they make sure they clean the shit out of your cock.
Dude, but that's the thing. I'm sure Thomas has gone through it like once or twice when he's like just like so like in the mood, like fuck it, okay, like let me get this over with.
Never have.
No, all right.
Nope, I'm a baby. I'm a big baby.
You want it,
Peter? I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
Peter. I said, do you want to?
Yeah, probably someday.
Oh, are you a virgin?
Get out of that fucking room.
I am, and I don't care to tell that on air. I don't give a shit.
Get out of that fucking room.
Isn't that crazy? Someone as crazy as I am and as many drugs as I've done, I haven't had sex. Isn't that weird?
Dude, I'm gonna buy a plane ticket for Niv to come see you.
Yeah, I'd fuck Nivik. Nivik, would you let me fuck you? Oh my god!
Dude, this is the best.
No, I've filled my life with music and philosophy and horse shit like that instead of fucking sex.
Yeah.
Also, I went crazy for half my life, so that kind of impeded a lot of things.
Yeah. It's all good, man.
Oh, I don't give a shit. I love talking about it. People are like, "Oh, that's too bad." And I'm like, "What?" And I don't care.
That was.
What does it matter?
What I find fucking crazy is when you hear these morons being like, "You haven't had sex in 2 weeks. How can you live?" Like, no, that means you have a problem. Like,
fuck
you
yeah.
need to take care of your fucking sex addiction because something strange is going down there.
Even as a sexy straight male, you're gonna fucking have long periods where you're not having sex. And you just go, am I just a dickhead? And you know what the answer is? Yes, you are a dickhead. You aren't 21 years old. You're a fucking dickhead.
Oh, yeah,
Scott, what?
You know everything. You're just fucking full of shit. You can't stop talking. And you think you're gorgeous.
Dude, the sad thing is, though...
And you know, that's not the...
Peter, hang on.
Dude, well, Peter, the sad thing, dude, is I have a buddy who's like 43 years old who's still stuck in that mindset. And he doesn't have a real job. He doesn't have a real car. Like, fucking, he doesn't have fucking anything. And he just mooches off of women that he gets to, like, to fuck them. And he always goes for, like, Mexican girls because, like, I don't know.
No, hey, are you saying that somebody who can't support themselves should get with our fucking Thomas?
No.
Who are you forcing upon me?
Well, there was something going on somewhere. Wait, it was earlier. Hey, you gotta meet my gay friend.
Oh my goodness.
My only real proper close gay friend had a fucking stroke there 2 years ago.
I'm losing you, Peter. I don't know. What are we talking about?
This is my only real proper fucking gay friend had a stroke there 2 years ago.
I'm your proper gay friend. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, you are now, but he was. And
he was your only one back then?
We did pills together. Fuck.
Yeah.
But when you say
brilliant jazz pianist,
hold on.
I mean, really fucking.
Hold on. I do have a question. When you say proper gay friend, that means a guy who is open about being gay, but you knew you had other friends who were taking a little shot here and there from a fucking
half shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to point to it with what you got, man.
It's just when I'm doing coke, man. It's not gay.
Guys, hang on. Let's hear from
Would you
Hohenheim.
have it in
What's up,
grams,
Hohenheim?
like? You get
Are
2
you
grams.
drinking
2
whiskey
grams.
from a?
Hang on,
1.5 grams of
Peter. Hohenheim's got a question for you.
Oh, sorry, little question. You drinking whiskey from a pint glass?
No, it's I got these little fucking like mini kind of half pint glasses that are
that is
like
beautiful.
square shit in them.
So you feel like you're a giant drinking whiskey out of a pint glass. That's even
yeah.
This is my whiskey. My whiskey.
I'm hardly going to fucking level
Thomas.
the I mean, at this point,
Thomas, please tell me you have that in a tub of dry ice.
Yes, I have a cooler down next to me.
Okay, because if that was getting like warm milk, I was
no,
say,
ooh, gross. No, I have a cooler. I have a cooler and a small fridge in my room. Yeah, for shizzle.
So where the fuck should I start on this shit? Anyway,
a lisp shit. What's a lisp shit?
Yeah, I didn't know what that was. Where are we
this
going?
cost me a fortune. This is actually really expensive. But
how much?
What is that, Glenn?
It's about $400 fucking maybe.
Was that what is it, Lafoué?
Right. This is that the right way around for you?
Yes, Encyclopedia of Philosophy. What who made it? Abogano to entropy?
It's every fucking thing up until about 1920 or 30.
Oh, dude,
oh, damn.
I know
everything.
that, dude. That was written by
the entire job.
Baby, don't you know what I mean now, honey?
Basically, I got this, and it weighs a fucking ton.
God damn.
So where do we start?
Where do we start?
I don't want to be bored.
You don't want to be bored?
Okay.
Where do I start?
I have no idea, Peter.
Okay, I get the entire Encyclopedia of Philosophy here. Now, I know what you're talking about.
Just pick a page. I don't know.
Still working out logically.
Do you have one on? Do you have
Peter?
Do you have one on linguistics? Is there one? Do you have a philosophy of language in there anywhere?
Well, you see, it's probably
I know. I want to see if we
philosophy and
Alex.
Travis Z.
Up here, dude. We got
what's
9 others. I'm just saying, let's see if we can get some other people up here talking. Alex, Travis, you've just been sitting down there like a jive.
Well, it's Friday night. He's probably got girly things going on.
All right, that's one. Philosophy and Zuby. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Peter. One sec, and then we'll come right back to you. What'd you say, Scott?
True. Travis is getting married, so he needs to get the most out of it right now because it's coming.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, did you not know that?
Oh shit! Now, when?
I
didn't know that. No.
Sooner than later. I think.
Okay, so like February or something, maybe March. I don't know.
Oh, like I
maybe
guess
he'll
I was
put it in
thinking
the
like 6 months down the road.
Okay. That sounds right. I think he told me, but I don't know if he wants that public knowledge. So I won't say.
Sorry,
but
he's not getting married, and it's not going to be July 13th at the Renaissance Fair in Charlotte, North Carolina.
The Renaissance Fair. That's where I want my marriage to be held, at a jousting tournament. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm having fun, but we lost Perry, and Perry's my big interlocutor on the semantics. That's like his thing. He fucking loves talking about semantics, and I do too. But he's charging his phone. So
let's go to Discord.
You want to go to? Well, we've still got a few people listening to us, so people are still enjoying. We've got 19 people
do we
listening
have examples
to us.
for?
Well, we don't have 19 people. I guess that's including us. So let's see how many people we got. We got 1, 2, 3.
We got Alex.
7,
we got
8.
Trav, and we got 9 others. So people who are showing us other.
Yeah, I don't want to just leave them out if they're hanging with us. So we'll just stay here and act like it's Discord. How's that sound?
Okay.
Yeah, dude, Alex Tabachi is up in the house. Come on, Alex, call in. Get that Tabachi on.
Yeah, call in, get crazy. We talking about whatever. It don't matter. I'll tell you who I am. All my secrets.
See, I'm trying to preserve myself for as long as possible. I don't want to go before the end of the show.
Your eyes are almost shut, Peter.
I am not done yet.
I have yet begun to defile myself.
Young skipper.
Where was that saying? Where did I get that from, Scott? I have not yet begun to defile myself. What is that from? Some movie or something?
Do you know what
Some
I watched?
Dude was getting drunk and he said it, I think, but I can't remember.
Do you know what I watched today? Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, nice.
Transsexual. That performance is fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, Dr. Frankfurter is fucking great.
Did you watch the? Oh, that. I don't know what happened. I think I watched the movie once, through and through. But the fucking, I'm gonna post it here. Fucking hell! I watched it. It was fucking brilliant.
Yeah, dude. When I was in high school and college, it was a yearly thing that you go to the festival, and everybody brings their like fucking squirt guns, their paper, their newspaper, their umbrellas, the whole fucking nine. And there's like an entire if you go and see it in the theater, there's an entire act that takes place within the crowd to that movie. Now it's wild, dude. I don't think there's any other movie that does that.
Brett, did you pop in just a second ago? What's up?
Fucking Brett.
The movie was Tombstone.
Oh, I have not yet begun to defile myself. That's it.
Yeah,
You're right.
When Doc Holliday's drunk and
Wyatt
Earp tells him to chill out, and he's like, "I'm fine."
I have not yet begun to defile myself.
Dude, that's back when Val Kilmer was a badass.
Dude, that was such a good. He says, he's like, "Oh, my fight wasn't with you, Lunger." He's like, "Well, it is now," or something like that. And then he goes, "I'm here, Huckleberry," and just annihilates that guy. I love that movie so much. It's such a good movie.
I'll be Huckleberry.
You know, they said that
Marcus.
They said that Doc Holliday in real life was actually was a really good shooter and was super fast, and there's a lot of characteristics of him that actually Val Kilmer got pretty solid on.
That movie is a testament to good acting. It's just a really well acted movie. All of them are AAA actors who were playing those parts, so it was really, really good. The direction was really good. It was just a good action film. It was a good drama. Had a good ending, except for Doc Holliday dying, of course, but that was inevitable. But it was a really good story. Love that movie. What was I was about to ask Scott something, though. I fucking forgot it. That's what happens when you smoke weed.
What is that, dude? Give it to me. Give it to me.
Oh, my God. Oh, yeah, chess. How's your chess coming?
Oh, man. I mean, I'm way better rated now than I was like a month ago. So I've moved up about 1,000.
What's your rating? I mean, it won't mean shit to me, but
it's like 1250 right now, which sucks. Like I need to be like 2,000.
What is like the competitive numbers, like 2,000?
Yeah, 2,000. Yeah, that's when you're getting competitive. But I keep getting these messages in my email from chess.com. It says, it looks like you played somebody who is cheating, so we're going to give you back as many points. So there's like a lot of people who are cheating, and like when I'm playing, it seems like obvious. Like, where the fuck did this move come from? And like they just roll you over in fucking like 10 moves, and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Mm-hmm. There's something that doesn't require language at all. It's just like a logic game.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Need to play a game. You need to play a game.
Do I need to play a game?
Yes.
I mean, I can.
No.
I thought.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, Peter?
No.
You're killing me.
You need to play a game.
That is a loaded question. What's your actual question?
My statement is he needs to play a game. It's not a question.
All right. Well, goddamn it, I'll play a game. How does that sound? I'm playing a game.
No.
Nope. I've already started playing the game. Sorry.
Not
got my
now.
controller and everything. Nope.
You see. This is this linguistics.
I'm kidding. Just joshing you.
You see.
I
didn't say that.
Did you say Dr. Holliday was actually a notorious sheep murderer?
No, I never wrote that. No,
I don't think you did. Must have been somebody else.
I could never, ever,
never do such a thing.
Explain to such a task, or an horrific task, and horrific.
You got it right. Let's go around the room, see what everybody's doing. Paul, what you doing? You there, hanging out, just chilling, listening? Hello. Calling all kapows. All right. What about Hohenheim? You there? Hohenheim, you with us still?
Jesus fucking Christ.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Hello?
Sorry.
Are you are with us, Hohenheim?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Peter's just doing his thing. What you got on your mind, brother? Are you just hanging out, or?
I'm just making stuff in my head, ready to thinking about pitching. I'm just about to message the organizer of this. I went to a Thai version of the Shark Tank, and they call it a mix between the Shark Tank and American Idol kind of thing. People present
went to this thing?
Yeah. It was really cool. But a bit weird.
You presented, or you just went as an audience member?
I went as an audience member, but I'm thinking to. Well, I'm going to present. I'm just thinking what to present now.
Well, to run some ideas past us.
I put some in the chat. There was an AR theme park, fully immersive. You'll think you can fly. Use the same tagline as Superman, except now you'll be able to be Superman if you want.
Fully immersive fantasy park where you can believe you can fly. Okay. Yeah, I mean, where you'll be able to convince yourself that you can fly?
You won't know that you're not flying.
That you're not flying,
but,
okay.
But you'd have to have the technology behind it to go on Shark Tank, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no,
he's talking about the Thai Shark Tank. Yeah, the Thai Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Oh, Thai Shark Tank.
Yeah, because he's in Thailand, remember?
It's called Face, Founders and something entrepreneurs. Founders and...
Do you think you could get an audience with them? Like actually give them something that they would...
Oh, give them something that they want. I don't know yet. That's why I'm thinking about what.
That's why you're brainstorming. Well, did you give us some more things you're thinking about?
Oh, other than that would be schools. Would be. I can't remember. I put a lot in the chat.
Yeah, I can go back and look. I'm sorry.
Bioscapers.
What is Bioscape?
I was going to say you got to start selling dickfers.
Differs.
Dickfers.
What's that?
What?
What the hell is a differ?
What a dickfur?
A dickfur. DICKFUR?
Yeah, a dickfur. Yep.
What the
What
hell's
the
a
hell is
dig
that?
for?
If you don't know what a dick's for, I'm not going to tell you.
It's a fucking pun. Oh my god.
Oh
Jesus
shit!
Christ.
I just got
I
that now.
cannot believe I got away with that one. It's been years.
That was good. I want to hear Hohenheim's ideas, you bastard. No, that was fucking great. That was a good one. You got me on that one. But Hohenheim, continue. What is your other ideas? The bio what?
Oh, bioscaper. Just giant
Bioscaper?
stones. Yeah. So in big cities, you'll build these huge, great skyscrapers, but the whole outside is basically like building land on the edge. So you'll have like a farm exterior. And then that will provide food for it, and so kind of like just building the earth up.
So like a city with natural elements to it, like more than just
the whole
a park
outside of the city. Yeah, the whole outside of the city is what powers the city and feeds the city, and you're basically making a
self-sustainable
biosphere.
Cities. Yeah,
biospheres, but straight up. So bioscapers.
Bioscrapers. Gotcha.
That's like the wall. Have you seen the video for the Dubai Wall?
That's amazing. I want to go there.
Yeah, the wall sounds like an insane community. It sounds extremely efficient, and it sounds like why isn't everything in society the wall? You know what I mean? It's because we're too spread out, and most people wouldn't want to live in that close of an environment to each other, I don't think. But that's like, if you can you put the link in the chat for everybody to see, Scott? Is that something you can find really quick?
Yep.
Because guys, whoever's listening, the wall. No, you're okay. Stay on with us, Hohenheim. The wall, guys, whoever's listening to this, is like this. It's like this model of a long, elongated structure to where these people can live, and there's like a monorail system in it, and the solar panels taking enough energy that it's self-sustaining, and like it's like one of the most efficient ideas of lifestyles of a culture, or of like a city. Well, we got a little bit of noise coming through, guys.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, that video automatically.
Scott, where are you?
Pulling up that video link that Thomas asked for, and it automatically started pulling fucking sound. Sorry.
That's okay, bud.
It sounded like
It
sounded like you just walked into a club or something. It was like, whoa, where's that? To me, at least.
Dude, in the club, man, just like fucking cool or something.
Did you find the link though? Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Everybody check that link out because it's one of the coolest architectural designs you'll ever see. Hohenheim, you've seen that video.
Walls, but apart from the walls, it shouldn't be a damn mirror. They should use it either solar or put plants, like things that will use that light that's hitting it rather than just reflect it off. It seems to be.
Yeah, I don't know why they're not taking more solar ideology into effect with it. You know what I mean? But
plants,
I guess
you're wasting all that sunlight.
You can have a mirror that refracts like light other than green light, right? So like you could say like I want this to refract everything other than what benefits plants. The plants get the light that they need to produce, and But then we'd also say, okay, well, we want the sunlight that like gives people vitamin D. So you'd like allow specific frequencies of light through.
Oh yeah, the daytime you'd use the natural light to light. Yeah, it should light everything. Like you shouldn't need light when you have sunlight anywhere. It's silly.
That would be cool. I would really like to see the wall take place, and they want to. Where did they want to start it? In Saudi Arabia, the UAE.
They've already started it. It's already started.
Oh, they've already started the project.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Alrighty then. Alrighty then.
Yeah.
Laces out, Dan.
Laces out.
Goes with the most power of, can actually come up with ideas.
Oh,
so we're on the way, lads. We're on the way to fucking. As soon as we do the whole nuclear fusion thing, we're a little bit fucked. For you know what, we're always 20 to 30 years away.
That's been the running joke. The running joke was always we're 50 years away, but the running joke is now we're 20 years away. So you know.
Well, look, no, it wasn't. It wasn't 10 years. Never 10 years away.
No, I said 50 years, and now it's 20 years.
Okay, we down it to 20 years.
Yeah.
Hey, didn't we get a little bump there recently?
Well, we maintained a sustained reaction.
No, we got a bump.
So real quick, no. What we had was inertial containment fusion. We didn't get magnetic containment fusion. That's what we wanted, and the reason why it's a big breakthrough. I read a whole lot about this. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be a dick, but the reason why it's not a feasible thing right now is, yes, they did generate more energy than what they put into that little piece of the system. However, the entire system that was required to power the lasers that did that thing,
basically it re-fucking formed.
Yeah, the whole system uses so much power just to get that fusion to operate that it's not viable yet. It's nowhere near viable.
Is it a matter of splitting another thing?
I don't know what you mean, Peter. I'm sorry.
No, is it a matter of splitting another thing?
Splitting another thing.
No, but you're not splitting. You're not.
Oh no, you're not splitting atoms with that. That's fission. We're talking about inertial containment fusion.
Yeah, but I'm okay.
Because you have to have like a plasma, basically, that is.
We don't have a way to create like force fields through electromagnetism, or that would be the way that we would want to contain fusion, is through magnetism. That's called magnetic containment fusion.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason why the fusion thing that just happened is a big deal, it is, because that's a scientifically amazing thing that you get more energy than you put in out. But and it was inertial containment fusion, but the whole system that was required to make that happen used a ridiculous amount of energy, the lasers and everything that required to happen. So if we can get it to where the fusion is doing that without having to use all the extra energy to make it work, then we're good. But we're not.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
fine.
Yeah, it's like the actuality. It's probably like 100 years out, but that's still no time flat.
I mean, it's still a hell of a thing that we can make a system that gives more out than we put in. That is fusion, or something akin to it. So if they actually achieved inertial containment fusion, that's a hell of a thing. We just got to find a way to do it with way less energy in the system. So.
And there are those people, like, it might not be now, it might not be tomorrow, but some fucking kid's going to come up with some idea, be like, oh, what if we do it like this? And then boom, fucking everything changes.
Yep. It's going to be it'll have to be another paradigm shift like relativity. It's going to have to be something like that. Somebody's going to have to solve one of the millennial math problems in like advanced math to where we can do better things with quantum mechanics and shit, or like artificial intelligence, like the P versus NP complete problem. So, I've lost most of my people, Scott. Perry's gone on us. Nivik's not with us. Kapow hasn't. Yeah, I don't know. He said he was charging his phone, but he probably got sleepy. He may have fallen asleep, and that's okay. Hohenheim's still with us, and Peter's still with us, but I don't know how for much longer.
There's like there's 9 people, and the others. Somebody call in.
Yeah, somebody call in and chat with our crazy asses. We're all just screwed up and talking about nothing.
Nothing to lose. Whatever you want to talk about, bring it up here, and it'll be.
Bring it up here, and we'll talk about it. Fuck it.
Like
I just don't want to leave while people are listening, because some people don't have the Discord, which, by the way, everybody who is listening, if you haven't signed up for the Pangburn Philosophy Discord, please do so. Go to Pangburn's YouTube channel, which is Pangburn Philosophy. If you go to that page and subscribe, you will look in the top right corner. It has our Discord link right there. Please come join our Discord community and talk to us. We would love to have you.
Twice.
Well, I guess if nobody else is going to effing respond, we can move to Discord. It's been a good 3 hours. I've had fun. One more time, Hohenheim, you here?
Hohenheim.
Hell yeah.
Are you going to come hang out at Discord?
Yeah.
Okay. Kapow?
You know it.
Kapow. All right. Nivik, my friend, are you with us? Are you coming to the Discord?
Fucking Niv.
Hello, Nivik. All right. One last time. Here. See if he's got his phone charged. Harry.
We got one. We got so two.
And 3, and it's sold. Somebody's in the background, just like like we're trying to sell Perry at auction, and somebody's just like keeps raising the price. I asked him. I said, "You still alive?" Let's see if he sends me a text back. He's probably not going to. It's not like we have to be professional on the show anymore. We've been talking about cunts and shit.
Mm-hmm. Big, juicy, sweaty cunts.
The ones that play tennis all day and don't shower.
No.
God, that's just so gross to me. God, that's the same thing of you thinking about a guy working at a construction site all day and just pulling his jeans down and saying, "All right, go to town." You know what I mean? Like, that does not turn me on. Cleanliness turns me on. I'm a bit of an OCD freak when it comes to that. So,
do like Dr. Evil, man. You need a pair of freshly shorn balls.
I do. I need them very clean and very nicely shaven.
They were ritualistically shaven.
Yes. Very meticulously shaven, as in no stray hairs all over the place. No stray hairs. Pointing me in the eyeballs. All right. Well, I guess Hohenheim and Scott are the only ones left with me. Travis is probably down there somewhere in Travis land. Brett, come join us on Discord. Everybody else, we love you. It's been a fun night. I've had a really good time. Peter just